Salutations! Welcome to Pod Mortem. I'm Reneé Hunter Vasquez, joined as always by my co-host, my husband, and my brother.
Hi, I'm John Paul Vasquez.
Hi, I'm Travis Hunter.
This week, we're recording live from the Black Room, discussing the 2011 horror comedy, The Cabin in the Woods. This film was directed by Drew Goddard and written by Goddard and Joss Whedon. With the script that Goddard and Whedon were able to write in just 3 days, this film takes a very unique look at the traditional cabin in the woods story. The Cabin in the Woods plays with horror film tropes while introducing a cheeky spin to the genre. This film was recommended to us by friends of the show Nisa Hunter, Megan McCullum, and Andrew Gelsomino. We so appreciate their support and their suggestions. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Megan. And thank you, Andrew. So, what did you guys think about The Cabin in the Woods the first time you saw it?
I remember your sister showing me this movie and I didn't like it. Mm-hmm. But watching it this time, again, and like I said, I think I had the problem like when I watched Jennifer's Body as a serious horror movie and not horror comedy. I was like, oh, all right. So watching this now, not as like a, of course it's a horror movie, but it's horror comedy. Watching it the way it's supposed to be, I enjoyed it a lot more.
Good.
So, do we have to prime you?
Well,
tell you what
the thing is like we had talked a little earlier before the show, but it's filmed like a serious horror movie.
And it is.
So it's like, I'm like, am I serious now or am I playing or, you know what I mean? Like, like, am I allowed to laugh or do I not laugh? But this movie, there's a lot of shit. So it's like, all right. It's like, I see what's happening.
I think when it comes to horror comedy, I think they tend to lean on one side more than the other.
Right.
More often than
For
not.
sure, yeah.
Even Behind the Mask, which we loved and talked about, definitely lean more on the comedy side.
Yes.
Tucker and Dale, more on the comedy side.
Yeah.
I feel like the horror in this film is shot like horror.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
And so it's an interesting take. I do want to point out that to me, I probably should have answered your question first. The first time. I loved it the first time I saw it. I am very interested to hear what you didn't like the first time that you liked the second time.
All right.
But I actually saw this in the movie theater with an old friend of mine, like when it came out. It was all based on word of mouth. Like I had heard different things on social media, basically go in blind, don't read anything about it, and you'll enjoy it. And holy shit, did I enjoy it. Like it was, I don't know, it was just so smart. I know I just brought up Behind the Mask, but when you're thinking about like not only subverting horror tropes in the genre, but also deconstructing it, you're like, well, yeah, Scream, Behind the Mask, they've already done it. What other way could you do it?
Yeah.
They fucking found a way.
They did.
Yeah.
I can't believe this was written in 3 days.
That...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm like, what the fuck?
I'm going to be honest, that infuriates me.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. Thinking about it, I can kind of see that now. I can. Well, the movie's short,
Right.
and it's kind of like, damn, and they fit a lot of shit in there.
Yeah. When we were getting ready to prepare for this, and I didn't answer my own question, but I will in a second. But
we don't follow the format on this show.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
When we were preparing for this, I was surprised that it's only an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you think about all the shit that happens in this movie, you're thinking 2 hours easy.
It's so packed.
Yeah. And so watching it, I'm like, oh, that's how it's an hour and a half, because they don't waste one minute.
No.
Like, this was a hard script to put together because it is packed, like from start to finish.
Everything you see means something.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And then that's why, like, the rewatchability, even when you know the ending or what's going to happen, I feel like when you rewatch it, there's so much stuff that you're like, oh, that's what that was. Or that, it's fun. But the first time I saw this was because you told me to, T. That's why I
was
watched
that
it? Yeah. And I can't, did we see it at the movies together?
Hey, if I saw it twice, that's possible. I'm not gonna.
I feel like we may have, because I know I saw it and then I made John Paul watch it when it came out, and he was like, that was fucking stupid.
Well, again, I went in expecting, and for anybody that doesn't know, I will say it this way to make it easier. I was expecting Halloween. Like that serious,
right?
Not
like straight horror,
right?
Yeah.
So like the same thing with Jennifer's Body. When I watched it, I was like, this is straight horror.
Yeah.
But it's not. So that's why it confused me, and I was like, this is what the fuck is this?
I've been thinking a lot about it and how you wrestle with these satirical, like tongue-in-cheek kind of movies. And I think your horror comedy like touchstone is like Scary Movie, where it is very overtly funny.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess, because like Killer Clowns is a horror movie, but it's funny.
And it's
Attack
very
of the Killer
outwardly
Tomatoes
silly. Not
is
tomatoes.
Well, it is. It's about killer tomatoes, but
Like,
it's a horror movie.
I regret to inform you, it is.
But
plot twist.
But I guess I guess you're right, because growing up with movies like that and Toxic Avenger and whatever, they are silly. So to me, when you say horror comedy, that's what I think.
That's what you're expecting.
I'm expecting a horror comedy.
Mm-hmm.
When you show me a horror movie that throws humor in here and there, it's like, do I laugh at it, or am I supposed to be, am I supposed to be happy that this dude is dead and laugh at him?
Be happy.
Or am I supposed to be like, oh shit, he got? You know what I mean?
I think you need to follow Jigsaw's advice and just follow your heart.
Oh, we can't do that.
Whatever you're.
No. You don't want that to happen.
Oh god. My thing about it is it always surprises me, because when we think of these horror movies that have the comedy elements in them,
right,
it seems like you like them the least, but you like comedies more than anyone at the table.
You do.
Well, I feel like, again, like I said, if you're... Now, forgive me, Travis and Nisa, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
So, to me, it's kind of like watching porn or softcore porn. So, I mean, one is like what, you know what I mean? It's like the soft version of it, and the other one is comedy. It's all the way, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So, I don't want to watch soft comedy if I like all the way comedy. So, if you're going to make it horror comedy, then just make it the best of both.
I just want to say I appreciate you apologizing to our parents.
Okay, well, I know they listen, and I love them.
Out of anything that could have came out of your mouth, that's not what I was expecting. But I will give you props for somehow making that analogy work.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
Do you understand? Yes.
The funny thing is that the simile makes perfect sense.
Now, before we lower this film's cognition, we would like to issue a warning for spoilers. Podmortem is a very in-depth podcast, and in thoroughly discussing horror films, we have no choice but to spoil a thing or two. If you don't wish to be spoiled, please go watch the film, then come back and enjoy the show. If you've already seen the film or don't care about spoilers, then let's get this party started. So the opening credits start, and through what looks like blood, we see drawings of things involving what looks to be human sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
They start you off early.
Yeah.
Teasing shit. You spend a lot of this movie wondering what the fuck's going on. I think it's admirable, because a lot of times, and they talked about it on the commentary, the studio was like, no, they can't be confused ever. They're like, well, how the fuck are we supposed to have a movie?
They have to be. I also read that Goddard and Whedon wanted this little snippet at the beginning. They wanted people to think that they had accidentally walked into the wrong movie.
That's not surprising.
Because it really, you're like, okay. Also, I just want to address the elephant in the room, and we know that Joss Whedon is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna bring back my Perez Hilton from last week and call him say Joss Whedon's a scumbag piece of shit. But I didn't know.
I just wanted to get that out of the way up top.
Mm-hmm.
But
now that we're past it, I do have a fun fact though. Drew Goddard said that obviously it's not real blood, but
it's not.
It appeared CG like to me. Mm-hmm. It's melted chocolate. It's real.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
it did look CG.
I thought it was not real.
It looked really cool.
Yeah. Now I just want to eat it.
But this abruptly cuts to a break room, and Sitterson, played by Richard Jenkins, and Hadley, played by Bradley Whitford, are talking while Sitterson gets his coffee. I just want these two men. They're fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
they're like, honestly, their performances are brilliant. Is that too far to say?
Good.
I feel bad because I genuinely care more about them than our main cast.
I mean,
is that bad?
No, it's not, because they embody these dudes so well, and they're so funny. Mm-hmm. Like, I love them. They're just great actors.
And the chemistry.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But Hadley has apparently started fertility treatments with his wife and is upset that she's already baby-proofing their house. They walk down a hall of a huge facility, and Hadley's concerned that she's jinxing them and this will cause her to not get pregnant, but also it takes too long to get his beer now. Because at first I was like, oh, I get it, dude. And then I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's all about the...
But suddenly Lynn, played by Amy Acker, interrupts them to inform that Sweden has gone south. She says she doesn't have any footage yet, but the word is going around. Sitterson is surprised, but Hadley isn't, declaring that, quote, you can never trust the Swedes.
Now, there are going to be a lot of references to various horror properties.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I'm telling tales out of school. No. But this one, for me, it started early because I was like, is this a reference to The Thing? Whenever
shit,
McCready was always talking shit about the Swedes.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
I didn't even put that together.
So I was wondering, but it might not be. They just might both hate Swedish people.
I guarantee you it was. But Lynn says that this means it's between just us and Japan now. Sitterson says that Japan has the perfect record, but Lynn seems concerned about a glitch, and they tell her that hasn't happened since 1998, but Lynn is still concerned.
I saw a video from Good Bad Flicks. Mm-hmm. Great work. They do great work.
Yeah.
But their assumption of the whole haven't had a glitch since 98,
right. Mm-hmm.
The Faculty. If you think about it, no spoilers. But if you've seen The Faculty, you know how it ends.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
That's really good.
I don't remember that.
Okay. Well, we'll just have to cover it.
I was going to say, we need to cover that one. I fucking love The Faculty.
Me too.
But as he and Hadley get into a cart, Sitterson asks if that means that she didn't participate in the betting pool because it's good money. Hadley suddenly remembers that glitch in 1998 was caused by the Kim department. And what department does Lynn work in again?
Fucking jerk.
He takes off in the cart, just leaving her behind. As he drives away, Hadley asks Sitterson to come over so they can liberate his cabinets. Sitterson is just fiddling with his cup, causing Hadley to be like, are you even listening to me? And then suddenly everything freezes and we're slapped with a huge red title card, The Cabin in the Woods.
Massive jump scare.
Yes.
Because you're like, oh shit. But I literally remember thinking, and it's funny you said that about the two of them wanting this. The second that this scene concluded and you saw the title, I was like, what the fuck's going on?
Yes. What am I watching?
Like, I was so confused. I think that's what's so important about going in blind to films.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
You get surprised by them.
Yeah. I was like, what does this have to do with the cabin?
Yeah.
Yes.
But
futuristic cabin.
But we do find out. But yeah, I was like, all right, I see the humor now.
I was going to say, because it's already funny.
Yeah, I was like, this is already... Instead of me being like, what are you guys talking about?
Just angry.
Yeah, I'm like...
Cabinets.
Yeah. Because he was mad.
Uh-huh.
He was mad.
It's like, is this the cabinets in the woods? Or?
Yeah. But this was a great opening.
Yes.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Definitely agree. But we cut to an apartment. Dana, played by Kristen Connolly, is packing a bag in her underwear. She looks somber as she picks up her sketchbook and flips to a sketch of a man wearing glasses. Over her shoulder, Jules, played by Anna Hutchison, identifies the man in the drawing as Professor Fuckwad.
Is that his Christian name?
Right.
I was wondering if this drawing bit was a reference to Alice.
Friday the 13th. I was thinking the same thing.
Because they dropped that very fast.
Because this also never comes up
Not again.
But Jules asks why Dana hasn't put that picture on a dartboard. And when Dana turns around to explain herself, she's taken aback by Jules's hair. She's blonde. Dana says that Kurt's going to freak out, but Jules says Kurt will thank her, and so will Dana when they're finally burning this picture. She rips it out of the sketchbook and runs to the closet, ripping it up. But Dana chases her, admitting that she's not ready. She takes the pieces away and says that it wasn't the professor's fault. So right away, I'm like, gross.
Yeah. It's pretty nasty.
So Jules asked for clarification. What wasn't his fault? Sleeping with his student or dumping her in an email?
Okay, I already have a problem.
God damn.
I'm like, tenured professor or not, that's a paper trail. Like, you better handle these breakups like fucking a spy getting an assignment on a bench.
Off the grid.
Like sliding you a manila envelope. We're over. What?
And then it self-destructs.
Exactly. Or how about don't date your students?
I'm going to go with that
Probably
one.
these are your two options. I go with the not doing
Yeah,
it.
don't be fucking, But Dana says that she knew what she was getting into. Jules produces a bikini and says this weekend, this is what Jules is getting into. There's also this situation of her being set up with Kurt's cute friend, Holden. Dana demands that it not be treated as a setup, and Jules promises that she won't push, but they're definitely packing the bikini. To make room, she takes 2 textbooks out of Dana's bag, saying they'll be at the lake, so there will be no learning for her.
In all fairness, leave the homework at home. Like, I will just cram the night before or whatever when we get back.
No, but you see in a second why she's taking them.
I know, but still.
But this is when Kurt, played by Thor himself, Chris Hemsworth, comes in with his football. He tosses it toward them, telling them to think fast, but it soars right between both of them and out the window. Outside, Holden, played by Jesse Williams, catches the football, nearly getting hit by a car as he does so. And nobody seems to care.
Well, the driver cared.
Yeah, he was not happy. When Dana identifies him as Holden, Kurt tells her that he's a sweet guy, and Jules is like, yeah, and he's good with his hands. It's like, all right,
Yeah, let's
simmer down.
calm down. I do want to say, again, the horror film references, in keeping with most horror films, all of our college-aged actors are mostly in their late 20s.
Absolutely.
Just want to point that out.
They gotta be.
They have to be.
Kurt then acknowledges that Jules is a lot blonder than the girl he's been seeing, then pretends to get sidetracked and angrily demands to know where she got those textbooks from. Jules is like, from you, okay? I learned it from watching you, and runs out of the room as Kurt laughs. He tells Dana that Bennett, who I guess is Professor Fuckwad, teaches the entire book that she had packed to his class. He returns it to her shelf and gives her one that the professor doesn't know as well, so she'll seem insightful.
Okay, I just want to point out, he's pulling books from her shelf and telling her to read them.
Yeah.
What that? What's that?
What that?
What that? I was so flabbergasted I couldn't even speak.
Love this dude.
Yeah. Oh,
No,
yeah.
he's great. And this is something that's very important on your second watch and on.
Right.
Yes.
Pay attention to how these characters act
Yes.
right now. And then compare and
Oh, yeah.
contrast.
Yes.
It's unbelievable.
But yeah, and that's something to point out without giving anything away. A lot, I'll say all of the main, I guess, 5 play 2 different characters, basically.
Yeah?
I mean, it just the acting in this is really, it's just, it's great.
How do you write this in 3 days?
I'm still mad about it.
I actually want to know.
They were really high.
Maybe they were something.
It could solve a lot of problems for me.
But Kurt then takes this opportunity to point out that she has no pants on. And we pan out because I forgot she was in her underwear.
Yeah. She was literally dancing in the window. And I'm like, oh, shit.
But then he just leaves. But we cut to outside. And as Kurt carries Jules's bags to his RV, we meet Marty, played by Fran Kranz, who is openly smoking out of a huge bong as he pulls up in his car.
No, that was great.
But they scold him, saying they want to go to Kurt's cousin's cabin, not him spend the weekend in jail. But Marty says it's a statistical fact that the cops will never pull over a man with a huge bong because he'll bind them with ancient logics.
So I'm going to respectfully disagree. But I will say 2 things. Number 1, on the funny side, they really should have marketed that bong because I think they'd clean up.
Yeah, we'll get to it in a second.
Okay. The second thing is really pay attention to some of the shit that Marty says.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Kind of everything that Marty says.
yeah. My first watch of this film, I was like, oh, he's just a stoner.
Yeah.
He's got some conspiracies. But he's bringing the ruckus, man.
He is.
Like Leon from Curb.
He brings the ruckus.
This is, you know what I mean, more believable than the guys in the Leslie Vernon when they were all...
Oh, when they were too high to function.
Yeah. That's fair. I will give that one leg up to this film.
But Marty just hands his bags to Jules and Kurt to carry and picks up his bong. But Kurt is like, you're not bringing that in. I guess it's his grandfather's RV.
He's got a lot of family.
Yeah. He's like, you're not bringing it in there. And so Marty shrinks it down until it's literally just a travel coffee mug. And they all laugh, which I read that the prototype that they made for this, I want to say guess how much it cost, but you never will. $5,000.
Are you fucking kidding me?
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why they didn't market it.
Yeah.
But in the RV, with Kurt behind the wheel, they all set off. Dana, Jules, Holden, Marty, and of course, Kurt. As they happily drive away, we pan up the apartment building to see a man on the roof. He speaks into his earpiece. The nest is empty. We're right on time.
So again,
Yeah.
The
like,
fuck?
what the fuck? It's funny to me because before that happened, you're like, well, this is pretty formulaic.
Well,
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
You know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have those moments and you're like, maybe I don't know what's going on.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, you meet these characters and you're in a comfortable space.
Yes.
You've seen this before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know the group.
And
Yeah.
so when you pan up and there's some dude watching them, you're like, what? And then we just saw this at the facility. Like,
Yeah.
what? To me, I'm like, what the hell is happening?
And I have to say, we'll learn more about the facility later.
Of course.
The boldness to start in the facility.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. But as he rolls a joint in the RV, because I guess he didn't get high enough.
Dude, he's rolling like 10 joints.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was worried about the bong. This dude's got a small like mountain of weed right there.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that big, but
But
you know,
He said a
and then
small
like
mountain.
you said,
yeah, he's like, I've seen bigger.
yeah, he's got a whole bunch of joints already rolled, and he's rolling another one.
Yeah. And I did read, I think it was on IMDb, that, is it Fran Kranz? Mm-hmm. He went training to learn how to roll all these joints.
I love it.
Like, and he's killing it.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I learned this. We're doing
Yeah.
it.
From pros. Snoop Dogg taught me.
But yeah, Kurt was upset about the bong, but he's not worried about
Yeah.
In the van.
Yeah.
Or the RV.
this. You got it, boss. But- Marty starts ranting about being off the grid for the weekend. Jules asks him if society is crumbling, but he says it's the opposite. It's binding. Every moment is being recorded, and maybe society should fall apart. Again, stoner talk, right?
One would think.
Right.
Yeah.
But as of now, I will call it interesting.
Back at the facility, Sitterson and Hadley enter a secluded area after getting their IDs checked by Truman, played by Brian White. Hadley asks Truman if he's prepared for what's going to happen, and Truman tells him he's been prepped and he is prepared to hold his post. They sit in front of giant screens over control panels, and on the screens are maps, and they begin to zoom in on a location.
I realized at this point, I was like, man, if everything always goes according to plan, why do they have personal security here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then why is the security guard new?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
was
shit.
like,
Yeah.
he's our exposition dumps.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you got to explain it somehow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a lot of high concept here. So, but when I realized that, I was like, all right, so whenever he learns something, that's us learning something.
Definitely. Yeah.
And we learn a lot.
Yes. But we cut to the RV pulling into a gas station that looks like something out of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, 100%.
Kurt gets out and they lament how old the gas pumps are. I did notice that he's holding a football for some reason.
Yeah.
Wait, you're right.
Yeah.
That's not.
I was like, okay.
He's like, maybe we can get a quick game of catch up.
But that makes me wonder when we learn stuff earlier. I mean,
Exactly.
excuse me, when
Yeah.
we learn stuff later,
When certain things.
when stuff
Yeah.
started getting into motion, you know.
Well, wasn't that the football that guy caught in the street?
It is, but why is he holding it to get gas?
Oh, I don't know.
He likes the
He
football,
really likes
okay?
it.
But despite the closed sign on the door of the gas station, Holden knocks and then just goes inside. And I don't know where they are, but I guess it's not in the South because I
No.
would fucking
Dude,
never.
I remember one time we stopped somewhere and we're like, would we be safe to go in there? Like, we literally
And we
wondered.
didn't.
And we didn't.
And we
kept
didn't.
driving until we saw like civilization.
You can't be doing that. There's places that we've stopped at that I am not comfortable going into with an open sign on the door.
Yeah.
This fucking says closed.
And I was, because literally seeing that, I was like, why is Jesse going in?
Yeah.
Jesse,
Holden,
no.
Holden.
His real name is Jesse. We were old friends.
Jesse,
we go way back.
what are you doing?
Yeah. No, I mean the actor. Why was the actor?
Yeah, he should have known better,
Yeah.
to be honest. But
I don't know.
Holden-
I'm usually so good with that.
well, that was a human moment. You
Yeah,
were
well, because I was afraid for him.
Yeah.
I'm concerned.
I think the only other time I did the mistake was calling Bill Hader Bill on one of our episodes.
You just love
I
Bill
just
Hader.
love Bill Hader.
But Holden looks around inside at all the weird shit. There's like a jarred bird and a barrel of hooks and animal hides hanging up.
Was there a chicken laughing at him?
But Kurt calls to him from outside, and just as he's starting to say that no one's here, a man steps in front of him, saying that he came here uninvited. This is Mordecai, played by Tim DeZarn. Holden apologizes and heads outside, but Mordecai follows him. I'd be like, go! I'd be fucking horrified.
Absolutely.
But he tells them that the sign on the door says that they're closed. They explain that they were just trying to buy some gas and get directions to Tillerman Road. Mordecai spits tobacco. Like, his mouth is fucking jam-packed.
Yeah.
And he spits it like right in front of Jules.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be some. It's first of all, I don't mean to alienate fans, but chew tobacco is like one of the most disgusting habits. Just fucking smoke a goddamn cigarette.
Please.
And blow the smoke in my face. I don't care. As long as I don't have to look at that fucking brown cup you're holding.
Yeah.
No, we live in the South, obviously. We live in Texas, and people, me and John Paul both work at a restaurant. People will come in and ask for a to-go cup to spit in while their family eats.
I'd be like, you can leave with it.
Yeah.
It's fucking, I think that's one of my only things that I cannot abide.
Yeah.
The dude cannot abide.
But anyway, he explains that Tillerman Road dead ends at the old Buckner place. He starts to fill their car with gas, I guess, because nobody knew how to work that thing. Kurt says his cousin's house is there on a lake through a mountain tunnel. And Mordecai says that's the Buckner place. There's always someone trying to unload it. He's seen many people come and go since he's been here since the war. Jules asks what war, and he's like, you know what war.
Yeah.
Dude, I have no idea.
No, I don't.
Man.
We're in wars all the goddamn time.
I know you're elderly, but if you step again,
Ooh.
we're gonna fuck you up.
You're on notice.
Yeah. The station's really going to be closed
Yeah.
in honor of your
But
memory.
damn, he already spit at us.
Yeah.
Now he's
Now you're
getting
talking
all
shit.
crazy.
Well, hold on. 'cause
Okay. He gets crazier.
He's a
Yeah.
habitual line stepper. Marty steps up talking shit, and when Mordecai calls him out, Marty is like, you were rude to my friend. Mordecai goes, that whore? And now Kurt is involved because he's not Ray from I Know What You Did Last Summer.
No. You got it, boss. Kurt's about to go get his hammer from the RV.
Holden steps between them, saying that they have enough gas. Mordecai says they have enough to get there, but getting back is their own concern. Dana puts the nozzle back in the pump, and Kurt throws cash at Mordecai, just like letting it hit the floor. Marty's like, good luck with your business, and continues to talk shit as they get back in the van and take off. Mordecai watches them continuing to chew his tobacco.
He is living his life.
Yes.
I will say,
Unbothered.
Marty's insult isn't that great.
Yeah.
Well, because he said, he's like, I hear the railroad's coming in or whatever. And he's like, and streets paved with actual street. And then they pull off to a street. Like, it's not, if they pulled off to a dirt road, it would make sense.
Yeah.
Hey, they didn't come there expecting a fight.
I guess
it was
not.
off the cuff, man.
He's like, these bits are for smaller towns.
And he's really high.
Oh, that's true. He probably thought it was dirt.
The RV continues down the road, and suddenly they're on a mountain road with the drop like right next to them. I could never.
We're finding an alternate route.
Yes. The RV goes into a tunnel, but we stay outside. We see what appears to be like, I don't know, the mountain. It looks like a canyon or something that the tunnel is in.
I don't go outside.
No. It's something naturey. But a bird flies by, and it seems like this beautiful nature shot until the bird slams into an invisible barrier. The barrier briefly becomes visible, and sparks fly as the bird drops. If I may, just for 1 second.
Please.
Not to spoil anything when it comes to ratings or anything like that. I love this movie. This one piece I hate so much.
My note in here is literally, thanks, I hate it.
Yeah.
Because no joke, and I don't mean to be hyperbolic or anything, but this might be one of the worst decisions any filmmaker has ever made. But
Thank you for not being
for keeping
hyperbolic.
things, on the
With all
level.
due respect.
With all due respect. Exactly. I just, for what it forecasts, It pisses me off so bad because
it grossly undercuts a huge moment later.
Yeah.
That would have been, it's impactful, but it would have been 1,000 times more impactful if we didn't see this.
you could have done something so much smaller.
Yeah.
Don't show a bird hitting something and falling. Show something else.
Right?
Yeah.
Show like just maybe a glitch, maybe just something in the Matrix.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, yeah.
You know?
kind of like a little shine or something.
Yes. Where you're kind of
it's
like, did I?
Yeah.
Where you have to wonder.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of like the thing from The Purge when the lady tells her something about the addition.
Yeah, when we were like,
Yeah,
stop,
I was like,
stop.
why- yeah,
no,
why-
what are you doing?
You're doing too much. But anyway, just as things go back to normal in regards to that barrier, we see the RV come out the other tunnel on the other side of this invisible barrier that we now know about.
Wish it didn't.
Right. But Kurt finally pulls the RV up to a creepy looking cabin. That's literally the Evil Dead. I was going to say
It's
Yeah.
It's basically the cabin from the Evil Dead.
I was like, wow.
like there's a lot of nods, but this one was just like,
Yeah.
Let me copy your homework.
They're even doing like crane shots and shit.
Yeah.
Like it's very close. That was one thing that is very interesting to me I wanted to point out because there is one shot of the cabin like from the ground up.
Yeah.
That looks straight ripped from Evil Dead.
I'm sure it is.
But I did want to point out that the director of photography on this film was a guy called Peter Dimming.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did Peter Dimming do the cinematography for Mulholland Drive, which I love, David Lynch, but he also did Scream 2 through 4.
Oh, shit.
And he did the cinematography for Evil Dead 2.
Hey.
Oh, well
all
then.
right.
So he's like, yeah, we used this shot back in
So all is
back in
forgiven.
the 80s. Yeah.
But they get out of the RV and stare at the cabin reproachfully. While Jules worries about spiders inside, Dana cautiously walks up the steps and lets herself in. Once inside, Dana wanders around, briefly startled by the mounted head of a wolf on the wall. I didn't know that was, I mean, I know that there's like moose heads and don't think I've ever seen a wolf. But
I feel like that's got to be illegal
I don't think so.
to hunt wolves.
Well, I know some areas they have like problems where there's a lot.
Oh, that's
or
true.
even like coyotes and all that. There's a lot of them just.
no, thank you.
That was a simple rejection of
All right.
everything he was saying.
You got it.
You got a bus. But everyone finally comes in with their bags. Kurt and Jules are very excited about the place. Holden goes into his bedroom to find a horrifying painting of like people and dogs slaughtering and eating an animal as a silhouetted figure watches in the background.
Now, I do have two things here. One, the silhouetted figure for some reason is the most terrifying part of the painting
Absolutely.
because he likes
he's
to
not,
watch.
I was going to say he's not getting his hands dirty.
He's like, good. He set it all up.
Excellent.
But the second thing is at least room 1408 waited a little bit to get freaky.
Yeah.
This cabin's just like, nope, all in Front Street.
Right out the gate.
I thought that was pretty cool.
It was, but
Painting?
Yeah.
I'm not sleeping.
not in my damn house.
Nope. And Holden felt the same because he's like, absolutely not. And he takes the painting down to reveal a window into the next room. Dana is looking right like toward him, checking her teeth. And we quickly realize that this is a two-way mirror situation when he waves at her, but she can't see him.
So is it, this always got me. Is it two-way mirror, one-way glass, one-way glass, one-way mirror, two-way glass? What is it? Is it the same shit?
What?
The thing, that's what they call it, but I never know which one is correct.
I thought I don't know.
I don't know. I've never interrogated anyone.
I thought a
No.
one-way mirror was the right way and two-way, you know what?
I feel like a two-way mirror is what Candyman uses.
Someone please teach us.
Yes.
I don't know. But when Dana starts to unbutton her shirt, Holden wrestles with himself before ultimately calling out to her and knocking on the wall to get her to stop. We cut to everyone standing in Holden's room, looking through the mirror and into Dana's room. Kurt goes to make sure that there are no other two or one-way mirrors.
Whatever the fuck they are.
Whatever the bad one is.
Please help.
So that no one can see him and Jules pounding away. And Marty follows them disgusted, leaving Holden and Dana alone.
Yeah, Kurt, it's called showing each other the
Yeah.
flesh.
Yeah. Oh
Thank
my
you.
God. That's just crass.
You
Kurt.
absolute pervert.
Seeing that she's clearly still uncomfortable, Holden tells her that he's putting the painting back up, but he realizes that she may be more comfortable if they switched rooms. She agrees and thanks him for being decent. They start to pack up their things and switch rooms as Holden acknowledges the clear intent of Kurt and Jules to set them up. Dana quickly is like, I'm not really looking for anything, but thanks for not being a creep. I'm like, oh, damn, dude. I mean, I appreciate her honesty.
Yeah.
But she also knew that they were doing this.
Yeah, I know.
Holden admits that there was a major internal debate about stopping her and showing her the mirror. Blood was spilled in this internal battle. And Dana's like, well, if you have internal bleeding, you should probably talk to Jules since she's pre-med. And it's very awkward.
I just want to say she flirts just like me.
Horribly.
So I relate to Dana now.
But she leaves. In her new room, she watches Holden stand directly in front of the mirror and take off his shirt. I was like, Holden, now you know damn well. She admires the view, herself wrestling with putting the painting back up. But when he starts to take off his pants, her decency wins over. She hangs the painting, but is so disturbed by it that she puts a blanket over it.
So she's more of the softcore variety, right,
Yeah.
JP?
Yeah.
She's a scream girl.
There you go, yeah.
But we pan out from her to see that she's being recorded and displayed on a monitor. Her monitor is surrounded by other monitors, displaying the rest of the group in their own rooms at various camera angles. We see that Sitterson is sitting and watching these monitors, and he announces to the room that it's basically go time. Lynn comes in with reports on Jules's blood work, saying her levels are good, but they're recommending a bump for her libido, suggesting they can either pipe it in or give it to her orally.
Pardon me?
Yeah, Sitterson, of course, was like, ooh.
Yeah. Lynn needs to call HR.
But she tells him to guess how they were able to slow down her cognition. She pulls up footage of Jules messing with her hair in a mirror and tells him it was from her hair dye. So at this point, I'm like, oh, this is the dumb blonde trope,
Yeah.
like actualized. She says it will work its way from her scalp to her blood gradually. Over the intercom, someone tells them that the Harbinger is calling for them on line 2, and he's being really pushy to the point of freaking people out. Reluctantly, Hadley answers the phone on speaker. Mordecai is on the other end, telling him that the lambs have passed through the gate to the killing floor. Hadley tells him he's done a great job and is like, okay, bye, but Mordecai's not done. Mordecai continues to wax poetic about how blind they are, and to cleanse them is to cleanse the world of their ignorance and sin. He starts to talk about bathing in the blood, but abruptly stops and is like, am I on speakerphone? Hadley lies and says that he isn't, but Mordecai knows that he is. He tells him that it's very rude because he doesn't know who else is in the room. And he's right, because don't be doing that.
That's fucked up.
Hadley pretends to take him off and Mordecai keeps going. He tells Hadley not to be foolish. This wasn't purely because of them. The fool almost derailed everything. The Ancient Ones see everything and they won't be. But he cuts himself off as Hadley, Sitterson, and Lynn all bust out laughing as he realizes he's still on speakerphone. This is a moment that never meant a lot to me, aside from just being really funny, until I watched it for the show. And
Right.
I definitely want to come back to this later.
I will say on the surface level, as far as the comedy concerned, this is easily my favorite bit. It's so hilarious.
But we cut to Holden and Dana jumping into the lake. Everyone is in their bathing suits except for Marty, who is still fully clothed. And I read that they wouldn't let him participate in the swimming and stuff because he's super ripped. I think the quote was ripped like muscular Jesus. And they were like, this character's not, that's not who this character is. And once you know that, when you watch this dude looks huge under those clothes. I never noticed it before.
It's funny because he's wearing all these layers.
Yeah.
It's like they probably just kept adding. They're like, we don't want to make Chris Hemsworth feel less than.
We only have one hunk and it's not you. It's not Marty. But when Jules doesn't want to swim, Kurt throws her into the lake before jumping in himself. Everyone in the water is laughing and having a great time.
So I did want to point out this was filmed in, I believe, Vancouver. And they had said on commentary that when they were filming in these woods, on like the other side of the woods, they were filming Twilight.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
See, that's
What?
so that's
and
so
it's
weird
just so strange.
that those even happen at the same time. Like that doesn't even sound right.
And that's the other thing about this fucking movie is that it was filmed in 2009.
Yeah.
And then it got shelved for 2 years.
Damn.
And so I was like, well, which Twilight was out in 2011? No, wait, it's fucking
Yeah,
Twilight.
oh,
fucking
shit.
crazy.
Yeah. I never saw those movies though, so
Neither did I. And it was very much something I would have been into at the time, but I was like, that looks stupid.
They were.
You know, I would bet money out of the three of us that you're not the one who
Yeah.
would have seen it.
Well, look, we got movies on the weekend.
Uh-huh.
It was either stay in your cell or go watch a movie.
And
I'm gonna go watch a movie.
Looks like we're watching Twilight.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I will say that Kristen Stewart is a national treasure.
She is. And Robert Pattinson as well.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, he's Batman now, isn't
He
he?
is, yeah. Well, we are getting way off base. Is this Talk Mortem or Pod Mortem?
Sometimes, man, I don't know.
But we see pictures of all of them on a screen before we cut to Sitterson standing in front of a jar of money. He tells everyone to hurry up and place their bets because the betting window is closing. Hadley laughs, telling Sitterson that one of the departments is practically giving their money away because of who they bet on. And Sitterson's like, you should talk, Aquaman. Hadley looks wounded.
You promised you wouldn't say anything. Like he's like,
But Sitterson just turns around and continues to take bets. As Hadley suffers through a banal conversation while he's trying to take someone's bet, Lynn twirls her hair and asks Truman if he's betting. When he says he isn't, she admits that it seems harsh, but this is just everyone letting off steam because if regardless how they act, this job is not easy. Truman asks if the director knows about this, and Hadley cuts in that the director doesn't care about any of this as long as these kids do what they're supposed to and everything goes smoothly upstairs.
I do want to point out that I love the lighthearted nature of this.
Uh-huh.
Because when you think about like people who work in hospitals,
Yep.
Right.
You have to.
gallows humor is not, it may come off as insensitive, but how else are you going to deal with all this shit,
Right.
dude?
What your job is. If you don't laugh, you'll fucking go crazy.
Right.
Yeah. And that's regular life too, I guess. I mean,
Definitely. But Truman accuses them of fixing the bets, and Hadley and Sitterson set him straight. Their only job is to get those kids down into the cellar. Once in the cellar, they have to make the choice of their own free will. If they don't, then the system doesn't work. Just like the Harbinger, who practically tells them they're going to die. They have to use him because of the system. The kids have to choose to ignore that Harbinger, and they have to choose what happens in the cellar. It's their choice because ultimately, if they don't choose to transgress, then they can't rightfully be punished. And I'm like, that's genius.
Yeah.
it's
That's
brilliant.
so good.
Again, I keep saying it, but 3 days. Like,
You
Come on,
motherfuckers.
another thing I thought of, why did Truman take this job?
Yeah, you seem real judgy, Truman.
Yeah, maybe keep some of these thoughts to yourself. You're still in the probation period.
But Hadley tells Truman that the window is closing if he wants to place a bet. Stone-faced, Truman tells him he's not betting, but Lynn sheepishly hands Hadley her betting slip. With his hands full of cash, Sitterson says, let's get this party started. Right after this, we cut to the cabin where Kurt fills up his beer and proclaims the same thing. Jules turns on music and we follow her as she dances across the cabin. We briefly cut to Sitterson and Hadley dancing to the same music.
Dude, the shot of them dancing in the lab. It is so good. It's just so good.
Everyone in the cabin sits down with their beers, except for Marty, who just smokes his joint. He targets Jules for a truth or dare. Marty dares her to make out with. Kurt's like, Dana. But he goes make out with that moose over there, pointing to what is clearly a wolf head.
He's like that door-marked pirate.
Yeah.
You think a pirate
Think
lives
a
in there?
pirate lives there?
But he then states for the record that he dares her to make out with that wolf. Unfazed, Jules takes a drink of her beer and sets the scene, flirting with the wolf before finally making out with it while everyone watches in astonishment. It's pretty disgusting.
I read it took 15 takes with this wolf.
With this wolf, like the wolf was the problem.
But the wolf wouldn't work.
That
What?
fucking diva
Yeah.
of a wolf.
He's like, look, I'll give you 3 kisses. And then I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'll be in my
I'll
trailer.
be in my trailer.
I mean, I think it's more funny and awkward than it is sexy, but
For sure.
the guys are looking at it like, I'm starting to swell up. I'm like,
No.
I feel like everyone's looking at her like, what the fuck?
well, not fucking Kurt.
Well, Kurt is
Kurt's
into
like,
everything.
yes.
Kurt's here for all of it.
And how dirty and old is that?
Yeah.
Just sitting there.
I read that to make it look dusty, but to also make it palatable for Anna Hutchison, they put powdered sugar all over it.
Okay.
All right.
So
right.
that would still suck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dude, the funny thing is that I remember doing a lot of acting in high school, and I did a little bit in college, but the first 5 minutes of acting, you feel like you're going to throw up. If I had to kiss that wolf, I'd be gagging all over the place. I don't understand how actors do stuff like this.
No.
But good for her, man.
Thank you.
Because she did kill it.
She did. But they all applaud her when she's finished, despite the fact that they did look appalled, except for Kurt, like you said.
Holden wasn't too disgusted.
I mean,
He was watching.
Yeah.
they were all watching.
And I got his name right this time.
You did. Jesse was watching.
Mm-hmm.
But Jules sets her sights on Dana. Kurt immediately says that she's going to pick truth. If she picks dare, she's not going to want to do the dare, and then she'll be like, oh, I wanted truth all along. Offended, Dana picks dare. As soon as she does, the cellar door blows open.
So, first of all, Evil Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
Flat out.
Right.
Second of all, wasn't that a little more assholey than I thought Kurt was?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And this is a lot more ditzy than Jules has been.
Interesting.
But,
Yeah.
As they all go to investigate, Kurt says the wind must have blown it over, but Marty's like, that makes no sense.
You remember on The Evil Dead when, I think it was Cheryl, she said something about the reason that the door could have popped open? And Sky's like, that's the stupidest shit I ever heard. That's how I felt with the wind. I was like, come on, man.
You know goddamn well. But it makes sense.
Of course.
Later.
Mm-hmm.
Seizing the opportunity, though, Jules is like, I dare you to go down in the cellar. We cut to Dana slowly making her way down into the darkness of the cellar with a flashlight. It's full of stuff, and her light scans over pictures and dolls and other random stuff. When her light hits the painting of a girl, she screams, and Holden comes down to check on her. The rest follow, and Marty lights a lantern so they can see more clearly. Everyone is interested, except for Marty. Kurt says that he's sure this isn't his cousin's stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I hope not.
Yeah, I know. The fuck's your cousin into,
Yeah.
man?
Marty's like, I dare everyone to go back upstairs.
Yeah.
It's like, we're still playing, right?
But they've all found an item that they're interested in. Holden looks at a music box with a ballerina inside. Kurt picks up a conch shell, but sets it down when he's mesmerized by an interesting looking puzzle ball. I don't know what else to call
I
it.
think it's the best thing to call it.
Dana looks at an old diary. Jules is fascinated by a necklace she took from a wedding gown. Even Marty finally gets distracted looking through an old film reel. We pan back and forth between everyone, completely engrossed in their objects. They get more and more mesmerized by them, and music mounts as Kurt presses a button on the puzzle ball, and Jules even starts to put the necklace on. But everything stops, and everyone snaps out of their trance as Dana gets their attention and starts to read aloud from the diary.
I just want to call out the editing in this section.
Yeah.
It is fantastic.
Because you're like,
as you're cutting, the music's all tense. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But it's the diary of Anna Patience Buckner from 1903. A girl writes that her father is angry with her because she doesn't have the true faith. She mentions people named Judah and Matthew proving their devotion on travelers. I'd already be like, put that shit down.
Yeah.
That is none of our business. I'm lying because I'd be reading the whole thing.
Yeah, I know. You're the one with the book.
Yeah.
You absolute liar.
I'd be reading it in my head, though. But she writes about her mother screaming all night, and when she still hadn't found faith, her father cut open her mother's stomach and stuffed coals inside of her. She says that Judah visited her in a dream and says that Matthew took him to the black room, and that means he's dead.
So that Cole, I mean, medicine was weird back in the day, huh?
She probably had a stomach ache.
Yeah, they fixed it.
She had menstrual cramps. He's like, I got this.
I don't think she has any problems anymore.
Damn.
But she says she wishes she could feel the same as Matthew about the great pain, but cutting people gives Matthew a husband's bulge, and she doesn't feel that same way.
Dude, fucking Marty's like, can we not?
Yeah.
Everyone looks horrified and disgusted. Marty asks that she stop reading, but everyone else is like, no, keep going.
The pothead is trying to
Listen.
save you.
Listen.
Just listen to him.
She reads that the girl found in the oldest book a way to save her family. She says that her good arm has been cut off and eaten, so she hopes that her writing is legible. Their salvation will come in the form of a believer who will come and speak this to their spirits, restoring both them and the great pain. Then she's like, it's just a bunch of Latin.
Well, then don't.
Yeah.
Marty's done.
Yes.
He tells her that this is where he has to draw the line. Do not read the fucking Latin. But a woman's voice whispers, read it. So she starts to.
It makes me laugh because the voice says, read it. And then the voice says, read it out loud.
Yeah.
Like, that's just super liminal, man. Come on.
Let me be clear.
Don't read it in your head. Nay.
Marty tries to take the book from her, but Kurt pushes him away, cussing at him.
Again.
Yeah.
Well, he hears it though, because
Yeah.
he's like, "What?" Who
Marty,
said that?
everybody else is just like, well, I'll continue reading. Dana says that the Latin doesn't even mean anything and starts reading it again. As she reads, we cut to the woods where the Buckner family pulls themselves up from the ground.
They have really good hearing down there because their reemergence was swift.
They're like, say words.
Like, did you
They've
say,
been waiting. They've been waiting. But we've got Father, played by Dan Shea, Mother, played by Maya Masser, Judah, played by Matt Drake, Matthew, played by Dan Payne, and finally, with her one remaining arm, Patience, played by Jodelle Ferland.
Which you may remember.
Sharon/Alessa herself.
Oh, hey.
Yes.
Silent Hill.
Now freed, they shuffle toward us until we see that they are on the big screen in that building. Sitterson announces a winner. The Buckners. The maintenance department cheers and high fives while everyone else looks pissed. Sitterson says they have to share the pot with Ronald the intern, who jumps for joy.
Yeah.
Something crazy that I heard on commentary about Ronald the intern. He's played by a guy called Tom Link. I looked on his IMDb and he was in like 27 episodes of Buffy. So I'm
makes
assuming
sense.
that's how they
Yeah.
learned who he was. But the thing is that they had said that in Canada, extras and small roles, they're given only to union actors in Canada. And so they had to prove that nobody else could play this part but Tom Link. And Drew Goddard had to write a like fucking brief and send it to the Canadian government
Wow.
in order for them to okay Tom Link being Ronald the intern. And he said he has like 3 lines, dude.
He barely talks.
Yeah. But they went through all that work. I
And
feel
one of
so
the-
honored.
Yeah.
One of those lines is, woo!
Yeah.
A woman tells Sitterson, though, that this isn't fair because she also bet on zombies, but Sitterson makes it clear. She had zombies. This is zombie redneck torture family, which is basically the difference between an elephant and an elephant seal, but she can try again next year. But he stands in front of a board that has everything that everyone's bet on. And
Yes.
if you pause that board and fucking take a look at it,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
It's a ton of fun. Like, it even has just straight up deadites on there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
It also has Kevin, Elijah Wood's character from Sin City.
what?
But nobody
Wow.
voted for him. Nobody bet on him. It was funny to me, though, as he explains this distinction to this woman who's pissed off, because I'd be mad too. But on the board, there's literally votes for witches and another one for sexy witches.
I think she deserves partial credit.
So, I
Right.
mean, they get down to semantics here. So it's the difference between an elephant and an elephant seal.
I guess so.
But we cut to Lynn and Truman watching the Buckners on a monitor. Truman says they're like something from a nightmare, but Lynn explains that they're what nightmares are from. Everything they have here is remnants of the old world, courtesy of downstairs, which I'm like, I don't want to see downstairs.
Yeah.
No.
I want nothing to do with downstairs.
I love the distinction something nightmares are from.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great line.
It's so good. 3 days.
I know. What are we doing with our lives?
He muses that it's monsters and magic, and Lynn says you get used to it, but Truman wonders if they should.
How did you hear about this gig, man? Like,
Yeah, no
It was on
shit.
Craigslist.
I can't.
Sitterson approaches Hadley, who honestly looks heartbroken. He apologizes to Hadley, who agonizes over the fact that Kurt had the conch shell in his hand, and now they're never going to see a merman. Sitterson tells him to be grateful because not only are they terrifying, the cleanup on them is a real nightmare. They say that the Buckners have 100% clearance rate, and Hadley asks if they should call Japan and tell them to take the rest of the weekend off. They walk over to a row of monitors. On either side is Berlin and Rangoon, who has a red message that reads fail over the chaos on the screen. But in the middle is Kyoto, and we see a classroom where children scream in panic while a demonic woman floats in the center of the room.
I do want to point out, because I have to, I know that the film took place in Freiburg, not Berlin, but Berlin's way more recognizable. But it also ends in flames. I think this is a reference to Suspiria.
Oh, hey, I wouldn't even be surprised.
I was happy to see it.
So what's happening here? This was kind of too, it was like, so everybody has a certain time or something, or these have just
everyone is doing this. Every country is doing this.
The same thing.
Trying to do the same thing, and one of them has to. I mean, we can't get into it until later, but one of them has to succeed.
Okay.
And at this point, everyone has failed except for the U.S. and Japan.
All right.
And in all fairness, I would say, if you think about it, those are probably the two largest, at least.
Horror?
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that.
I didn't think about that till just now, but J-horror is huge.
Oh, yeah.
And
obviously, horror in the United States.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, the more you think about it and the more you talk about it, you're like, wait, they probably meant this.
Exactly, yeah. There's so many theories to be had here.
Yeah.
All right.
I have another one that I never thought of until today. So
I'm intrigued.
I'll propose it at the end.
I do want to say something very quickly. I did see that the makeup in this film, because there was a behind the scenes featurette. First of all, the Buckners, the actress who plays the mother, she said it took 6 hours for her makeup to get on.
They look great.
Yeah.
Though. They look so good.
And also all of the things that eventually are seen in this film are amazing.
Fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
But the effects and makeup are done by AFX, which is David Anderson's effects house. He actually won the Oscar for Men in Black when he was working with Rick Baker. And he won another Oscar for The Nutty Professor when he was working for Rick Baker.
Nice.
But the crazy thing about it is his wife also worked on this film. She's credited as Heather L. Anderson, but her name that we know her as is Heather Langenkamp.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
She did effects on it?
She did makeup work on this film.
How fucking
yeah.
cool. That's so cool.
Right?
That's hell yeah.
That's really fucking cool. But we cut back to the cabin where music is playing and Jules is dancing for everyone in front of the fire. Everyone just stares at her except for Kurt, who's like, that's right. Like, he's fucking hyping her up.
I was like, what is Kurt anymore?
He's just drinking and he's
Yelling.
hyping her ass up. But he still hypes her up even when she comes over to Holden to dance for him. And Holden is randomly wearing glasses now.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
That's abrupt.
Yeah. But Marty speaks up and Jules sets her sights on him, telling the room that she and Marty made out once when they were in freshman year. He kind of lightens up a little bit and kind of laughs about it, but she hits his joint and then goes back to dancing for him. Marty says that he has a theory about all of this. Kurt grabs Jules and tells Marty to tell his theory to the egghead Holden if he's not too busy de-virginizing Dana.
This is when I was like, okay.
Who the hell are you?
Yeah, what happened?
Number one, step off, Kurt. Number two, fucking Dana's banging her professor.
Yeah, and we've established this.
Holden's catching footballs in the street. I'm like, right?
But sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He leads Jules to the door and they go outside. Dana starts to get herself a beer and Marty asks her if she really doesn't notice the way that everyone's acting. Why is Jules acting so weird? Since when does Kurt, the sociology major, act all alpha male? He has a full academic scholarship, but he's calling Holden an egghead. Dana tries to blame it on the alcohol, then on the weed, but Marty tells her that she's just being willfully ignorant. She doesn't want to see it, so she's not seeing it. He mutters about puppeteers and then gets distracted. Dana's like, Pop-Tarts? And he's like, Pop-Tarts? She's like, you're really high, and just walks away. Marty says that they're not who they are and decides to go read a book with pictures in it, and he leaves.
In her defense, he is very high. So I see how she could come to that conclusion. One thing they did mention on commentary is that the transformations we see, these shifts, The only one that they have regret over is Jules, because we only know her with the hair dye.
True.
Yeah.
Right. I do appreciate that the whole internal bleeding thing, and she's like, well, Jules is pre-med, you know.
Yeah.
So we know that she's
Not
very
this.
intelligent,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
have her acting very ditzy. Not that you can't be intelligent and shake your ass and make out with the wolf's head, you know, but
I do it all the time.
But Dana brings the beer to Holden, who's reading over Patience's diary. He says that he could read Latin in the 10th grade, and now it's all coming back to him. What?
We're not sitting there reading this fucking book.
No.
First of all, no. Secondly, if you could read Latin, why were you letting Dana stumble through it? Wouldn't you be
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
let me see?
yeah.
You know,
Because,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, shit doesn't make sense until it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But she apologizes for how weird everything's been tonight, but Holden tells her he's still having a really nice time, and they smile at each other.
He says, would I lose points if I told you I was having a nice time?
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck would you lose points? Like, makes sense, egghead.
Yes, you I thought you were the smart one.
Yeah, what the hell?
But in the woods, Jules and Kurt giggle as they run through the trees. He finally catches her and holds her, telling her that they're all alone. But they're being watched on a monitor by literally every man in the facility.
They came from all the departments.
They did.
Something that made me laugh on commentary is, first of all, it's surprising, but this is all a soundstage.
What?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, all of it is like either artificial or real, but it's not out in the real wilderness. The funny thing about it, though, is the guy responsible for bringing the trees in was named Glenn Forrester.
Stop it. I think he lied about his name.
Yeah. My name is Tree.
Forrester. But just as Kurt goes to unbutton Jules' shirt, she tells him she's chilly and runs away. The men all groan in disappointment, and Hadley's like, get out, we're trying to work. Once they leave, Sitterson adjusts the temperature for Jules and Kurt from 64 degrees to like 75, 76 degrees, and Hadley turns on the pheromones. And back at the woods, we see the pheromones rising up like fog from the ground.
It's so smart.
It is.
Because you watch horror films, and I know JP probably a lot, because a lot of times when things get steamy, JP's like, why the fuck is this happening? But to have like a kind of
This is why.
explanation.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is why.
This is why they're taking off their gear and
Yes,
getting
their
down.
gear.
I don't know.
This is why they're showing each other the flesh.
There you go.
But Jules takes a deep breath of those pheromones and smiles at Kurt. They start to kiss, but Jules tells him that it's too dark and asks for him to take her inside. Kurt's like, nah, it's romantic. This is why we came here. Back in the facility, we see a dial being turned, and in the woods, the moonlight shines more brightly from the trees. She's like, I'm cold. Bet. It's too
Yeah.
dark. Bet. What else?
Sitterson, he came prepared.
Yeah.
Yes. But they lay down and start to make out as Sitterson, Hadley, and Truman watch them on the monitor. Sitterson and Hadley are like, show us the goods. But Truman is disgusted, asking if it really matters if she shows her breasts. And they're like, yeah, it does. We're not the only ones watching this, and we have to keep the customers satisfied. Sitterson turns on Truman and is like, do you really know what's at stake here, man?
Well, he's like, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm new, dude.
yeah.
They probably should have briefed him, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
One would think that none of this came up in the interview.
No.
Yeah, no shit.
They're
What,
just like, can you handle yourself?
yeah, what did they tell you were going to do anyway?
You're
I-
right, because at the beginning he's like, yeah, I've been briefed and prepped. It's like, on what?
yeah.
It's like the Thor meme. Have you?
But back in the woods, Kurt and Jules are getting hot and heavy, and Jules finally unbuttons her top and reveals her breasts, to which Hadley goes, score.
I will say Truman, for all of his like puritanical bullshit, he leans right into frame
Hypocrite.
watching.
Yeah.
Also, when they say the customers,
Yeah, see that too. I'm like,
That fits into my theory later.
I have a theory as well
Alright,
along
we'll
that.
get to it.
Well, yeah.
But they continue to make out, and we follow Jules's hand across the grass and focus on it until it is stabbed through with a knife. She screams. We see that it's one of the Buckner zombies. More of them come from out of the trees, and Kurt fucking tackles Mother Buckner.
Yeah.
But when he turns back around to help Jules, he's stabbed in the back. He has to pull it out of his back and turns just in time to see one of them stand up with the tool.
I do want to point out that I think his name is Matthew Buckner.
I don't know.
Okay.
I refer to the younger Buckners as the Buckner boys.
Are they a tag team?
Yeah.
Yeah. They got you on the ropes.
But yeah, no shit. But Matthew Buckner, he keeps tilting his head just like Michael Myers.
Right.
And
He
that's
fucking does, dude. I didn't even catch that.
when he did it, I was like, this is good.
I approve.
We all know how I feel about Halloween.
But his weapon is a bear trap attached to a chain. I put the Buckner boy, but I'm guessing Matthew Buckner swings it and hits Kurt in the head, knocking him down. He then throws it at Jules, and the teeth from the bear trap bite into her back.
So is it alive?
The bear trap?
Well, I mean, he threw it in it like, I mean,
It's sharp.
I mean, yeah.
I don't. Did it know when to bite her, or was it like?
He's like, go.
They've rigged these. I don't know.
The bear trap is also undead.
Mm-hmm.
But Matthew drags her toward him and holds her up, while Father Buckner holds Kurt and the two brothers hold Jules. Mother Buckner readies a giant and dirty saw. Jules screams to Kurt as we see her get sliced, blood flying toward us, and it cuts to black.
I don't know why, but the cut to black from that slice is like jarring.
It's
Yeah.
a lot because like we were just showing each other the flesh. Like
Yeah,
everything
man.
was just fine.
We were having the best time.
Yeah.
It was the best of times. Fucking Charles Dickens over here.
But back at the facility, we cut to Hadley looking solemn as Sitterson bows his head and offers a prayer. This we offer in humility and fear for the blessed peace of your eternal slumber, as it ever was. Hadley repeats that last line after him, also bowing his head. Hadley then gets up and opens a panel on the wall. He pulls a lever inside, causing gears to grind until a vial of blood is broken. We follow the blood down, seeing it fill in the recesses of an outline.
We're starting to get things piecing together.
Mm-hmm.
But I do wonder about the logistics of the blood collection.
Like, whose blood is it?
Well, are there
Yeah.
holes in the grass? Like, what's happening?
Sure.
All right.
It's that animalistic bear trap. It
Yeah,
that right?
brought it back.
It-
But back at the cabin, Marty is doing just as he promised and laying in his bed reading Little Nemo.
dude, I laugh every time his line.
He's like, what is this?
He goes, Nemo, man, you got to wake up. Your shit is topsy-turvy. It kills me every single time.
But he's super into it until he hears that woman's voice announce that she's going for a walk. And he's sick of it.
Mm-hmm.
He stands up and confronts the voice, saying he's in charge of his own brain and refuses to be a puppet. But then he promptly decides that he's going to go ahead and go for a walk.
It's like me when I see an ad for food.
Yeah,
Like,
you're not in charge of me, but I am going to go get some burgers.
Yeah.
On the couch, Dana and Holden are making out. She pulls away from him, telling him that she's never, well, she doesn't mean never.
It's like, why did I
she's
say
like,
that?
why am I
Yeah.
saying this? But he reassures her that they won't do anything that she doesn't want to. Just as they go in for another kiss, Marty walks past them to the front door, commenting on Holden's husband bulge.
And Holden is ashamed.
Yeah.
Well, Marty didn't need to blow up his spot like that.
Yeah, but
But Marty casually walks outside whistling and takes a look up at the stars. But the sky is just pitch black. He remarks that he thought there would be stars and comes to the conclusion that they are abandoned.
it's funny that Sitterson wasn't like, fuck.
Yeah.
Turns on the stars.
You guys didn't turn on the stars? But as he's wrestling with this, we see Patience Buckner staggering up in the background. He starts to pee in full view of the cabin, which I
Yeah.
don't blame him. It's dark out here.
Well, you can't pee in the... Oh, wait, no. They don't have bathrooms in cabins a lot of the
Yeah.
time.
Ugh,
That's
no
why you
thank
don't go to a cabin.
Yeah, no thanks. But he does start to pee, with Patience getting closer and closer. But just when you think she's going to scare him, Kurt does instead. He runs right up to Marty, telling him to run and get inside. On their way back to the cabin door, he fucking clotheslines Patience, calling her a dead bitch.
She does a flip.
Yeah.
He fucking takes her ass out. But inside, Dana asks where Jules is, and Kurt tells her sadly that she's gone and they need to get out of here. Dana refuses to believe this and opens the door, saying she's not leaving without Jules. There's a Buckner boy waiting on the doorstep who smiles and tosses Dana Jules's head. She screams and throws it away. Kurt and Holden manage to get the door closed and locked, and when Dana asks what they are, Kurt tells her he doesn't know, but there's more of them. Marty remarks about the girl he saw all zombified like that guy, but with only one arm. Dana quickly makes the connection to the diary.
You done goofed.
Yeah, you done goofed, because she told you that her arm was cut up in et.
Yeah.
She told you.
I'm not gonna judge anyone on how they deal with these kinds of situations, but I feel like if someone threw a severed head at me, I wouldn't catch it.
It's reflex.
Yeah, I guess.
But Kurt decides to take the cabin room by room, barricading the doors and the windows. He says they have to be smart and stick together no matter what. Back at the facility, Hadley's like, what the fuck? He's like very upset. Sitterson tells Hadley to calm down and takes care of it by pressing a button on his keyboard. At the cabin, something behind the vent moves and releases more mist. Kurt walks directly into it, breathes it in, and is like, this isn't right. We'll cover more ground if we split up.
Yeah.
I was like, you.
No!
Yeah. First of all, this is cheating. But secondly, again, to these points, this is why.
Yeah, this is why they do stupid shit. Never split up. Okay? Don't split up. But Holden's like, yeah, we should. And Marty's like, really? Suddenly, a fist punches through one of the windows. Kurt runs to attack the hand and tells everyone else to get to their rooms. At the facility, Hadley has popcorn now. And he munches on it as he tells Sitterson to lock them in. Sitterson presses a button on his keyboard, and just as everyone runs into their rooms, all the doors slam shut. Now locked in his room, Marty rushes to close his window, but accidentally knocks over his bedside lamp in the process. In the broken lamp, he spots a small camera. He picks it up and looks into it, leaving Sitterson and Hadley to worry. Hadley immediately makes a call to the Kim department, but leaves them on standby when Sitterson points out that Judah Buckner is about to make short work of their problem.
I love that he gets on and he's like, yeah, I need 500 cc to Thorazine. Like, we're about to knock him. Just knock him out. It's causing too many problems.
Marty's going in timeout.
Yeah.
But Marty sits on the windowsill after pulling at the camera wire and comes to terms with the fact that he's on a reality TV show and his parents are going to think that he's a total burnout.
As if they haven't.
To me, this was a very Stu moment from Scream.
That's very fair.
But just as he ponders this, the window behind him breaks and Judah grabs him. Marty reaches for anything he can get a grip on as Judah pulls him out of the window. And when they land outside, we see that it's his coffee cup / bong. He's able to extend it to its final form and hit Judah with it, but it doesn't do much. He runs, but Judah throws his knife and gets Marty right in the back, and Marty goes down. Marty screams for help as Judah grabs his feet and drags him through the woods before pulling him out of sight. And we hear stabbing noises.
And we see blood spray.
Yeah.
Two things. One, the triumphant music when he fucking lightsabers that bong. Like, it's very funny to me. But the second thing is, it's kind of odd they didn't have a camera angle to catch Marty getting killed.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, not a big deal.
It's exactly as presented.
I was sad.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But at the facility, Hadley pulls another lever, which breaks another vial of blood, which fills up recesses that look like someone dancing with a glass of wine in their hand. The facility starts to shake, and they acknowledge that they must be getting excited downstairs. On a shaking monitor, we see Dana panicking in her room.
The earthquake situation? Mm-hmm. Put a pin in that.
Right. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it takes you a couple times to watch it.
Yeah.
My mouth dropped open. It's just so good. But back in the cabin, Dana tries to barricade her window, but Mother Buckner breaks the window and grabs her before stabbing her saw through. Dana runs to the door and begs for someone to open it. But Holden breaks through that 2/1-way mirror and helps Dana through, and they fall into his room with her landing on top of him, of course. They lift the bed to cover the hole from the mirror, but they spot a trap door in the floor. Dana lowers the lamp down, and when they find the room empty, they drop in. Kurt starts to pound on Holden's door, telling him to unlock it, but Holden says he can't and tells him to meet them down in the basement. Now down in the cellar, Dana looks around at the tools and devices and identifies this as the black room from Patience's diary. Dana says that this is where he killed them all, and this is where he's going to kill us. Holden's like, oh, now hold on.
Can you have a little positivity, please?
He says no one's going to kill them. They're going to find their way out of here. They look around for a door and call out for Kurt, but suddenly Holden gets got in the back with that bear trap chain.
Yeah.
Bear Trap's like, I got him.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking.
Father Buckner starts to pull him back up the trap door, but Dana jumps on Holden and pulls him down. I'm sure that fucking hurt.
Oh, yeah.
But this almost pulls Father Buckner down with them. Dana finds a crowbar and stabs it through Father's eye, telling him he likes pain so much. How does this work for him?
Are they feeding her one-liners too?
Yeah.
That's in the mist as well. But Father's eyes pop right back open. The music swells as Dana grabs a knife and stabs Father until he stops moving, spraying black blood everywhere. In the facility, Hadley yearns for the days where you could just throw a girl into a volcano, and Sitterson presses a button that makes the knife emit electricity. Back in the cellar, Dana drops it after it does a small little buzz and doesn't even register that she's done this.
I love this so much.
Yeah, because in every movie, you're like, hold on to the gun.
Yeah.
We were just talking about it well, I guess not just. It was back in October.
It was just.
With Halloween.
Time is a flat circle.
With
But yes.
Laurie Strode dropping the knife, and we're
Yeah.
like, why would you drop the knife?
Yes.
And it's just like, I mean, that stuff. Drew Goddard said that they didn't really do any background research on horror, minus the years and decades of loving it.
That's all you need.
That's all you need to do that. But little moments like that just show how true of horror fans they are.
Yeah, because that's always infuriating.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even register it because they never do.
No.
But finally, Kurt bursts in. He leads them out of the cellar and outside, grabbing a big stick on the way. Dana asks about Marty, and Kurt tells her that they got him. They jump into the RV and take off.
How does Kurt know that?
He's probably like, I'm not going back.
Oh, we're not making two stops.
Jules is dead. Marty's dead. Yeah, we're leaving. But we cut to Kyoto, and the little girls form a circle chanting around the demon and holding a pot with flowers under her. The light shines from her face as she screams. Finally, she disappears and comes back in the form of a frog and the flowers beneath her. The girls announce that the evil has been defeated and the demon spirit will now live within a happy frog. They all cheer and hug. We pan out to see Sitterson watching them on a monitor. He yells, "Fuck you!" at them. He's like, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you."
Specifically each girl. This is to me, first of all, it's hilarious.
It's so funny.
Second of all, the crazy thing that I heard on commentary is that when this was with MGM wanted to cut the entire Japan bit.
No.
Why?
They said
it doesn't even take that much time.
no.
Yeah.
They said again, like I said at the top about things
It would
being
confuse.
Yeah, they said people won't understand what's going on. It's like, dude, and this is why it got the film. Of course, when MGM fucking whatever happened to them.
Yeah.
The film got picked up by Lionsgate, and Lionsgate loved the film as it was and said no changes. You know,
Good.
which is what's funny to me because this film feels like a Lionsgate film anyway.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's just
maybe it was always meant to be.
it's fate, man, for the ancient ones.
But Lynn video calls Sitterson, throwing back what he said about Japan having it in the bag in his face. Sitterson tells her that Japan has fucked them, and really, how hard is it to kill 9-year-olds? We cycle through the monitors. Japan, Sweden, Buenos Aires, Madrid, all failed. Sitterson tells Lynn that they're not worried downstairs because they still have faith in what they're trying to make happen. Hadley says that they're about to bring the pain on the remaining friends. Sitterson, though, asks Lynn what was up with Marty's pot. He should have been a drooling idiot, but instead he nearly blew everything for them. Lynn says they treated it, but it doesn't matter anyway because the fool is dead, and they're going to be too if they don't get this under control. Hadley sees something on the monitor that makes him panic, and he motions for Sitterson to end the call with Lynn. She's telling him that they're humanity's last hope because if the ancients rise, but Sitterson just hangs up on her.
I want to know more, please.
What happens if the ancients rise?
Doesn't sound good.
But the cave-in that was supposed to block off the tunnel never happened. The tunnel is wide open. Sitterson calls out to the demolition team before taking off from the control room. He just fucking is chopping out of there. We see the RV hauling ass down the street as Sitterson runs through the halls, literally pushing people out of his way. It's like, and I know what you did last summer.
Yeah, where you tackle that old man. Except now the old man's doing that.
But he finally makes it to his destination where they tell him it should have blown hours ago. There's been some kind of electrical glitch, just like in 98.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I do want to point out is a very interesting influence that Drew Goddard talked about on commentary. He said that as you're watching this, you're simultaneously wanting Sitterson to get the cave in and wanting them to get out, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He said his inspiration for rooting for both came from when he rewatched The Breakfast Club as an adult. He said,
Who was he rooting for, the principal?
well, look, he said, he said when he watched it when he was younger, he identified with the kids, of course.
Right.
Duh.
But then as an adult, he said there's that scene where the janitor and the principal are talking, and he's like, oh, shit, I'm them now.
Don't you hate that?
Yeah.
So you're like, well, I'm officially old.
Yeah.
Long story short, I'm afraid to rewatch The Breakfast
You
Club.
mess with the bull, you get the horns.
Can you just say that to the kids when I got home? When I
What?
got here?
What?
I don't live here.
It's your home away from home.
There you go.
But Sitterson crawls under the desk and starts fucking with some electrical wires. Lynn runs into the control room demanding to know what's going on and asking why the tunnel hasn't blown. Kurt in the RV is hauling ass and just about to make it through the tunnel when we see Sitterson connect two wires together. Suddenly, the tunnel blows. Kurt slams on the brakes just in time before the way is completely blocked. He throws the RV in reverse as debris chases them back out of the tunnel.
That's a great shot.
Yeah.
It is. We cut to the three survivors standing at the huge gap between the road they're on and the road out of here. Kurt has climbing gear, but at his dorm.
Great.
The road is completely blocked and there's no way across. Holden asks what, we're just supposed to jump? And Kurt has an idea. We cut to Kurt revving up his motorcycle. Dana's concerned, but he assures her that he's done bigger jumps than this. Holden tells him that he has to give it everything. Kurt tells them to stay in the RV.
Well, he's living up to his egghead shit because he's like, there's about a 5 meter differential. I'm like, what the fuck?
It hasn't worn off yet.
No. And you can't see that from here.
Yeah.
But Kurt tells him to stay in the RV because he's bringing back help. He'll limp if he ends up crashing on the other side, but he's coming back. He's coming back with cops and choppers and big fucking guns, and those things are going to pay.
Great speech.
It's so good. I did read that from the dailies of Kurt giving this speech, this is how he got Thor.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
It was funny. I heard on commentary, they said that I think it was the dailies came out on Thursday and then MGM hired him for Red Dawn
Yes.
on Friday.
Damn.
And then by, I think, Sunday, he
Yeah,
was Thor.
they said 2 days later.
Yeah.
So this movie, I mean, really,
Right.
you know.
All right,
Can you imagine anybody else
nice.
being Thor?
No.
No.
Joss Whedon's scumbag ass was on commentary as well.
Scumbag piece of shit.
Scumbag piece of shit. And he said that, I guess, Chris Hemsworth had screen tested for Thor, but he thought that it went horribly.
Right.
And it was these dailies that kind of turned everything around.
But he's so, like, you honestly get goosebumps because you're like,
Yes.
this dude's going to fucking save us.
Yeah.
Like, you know he's going to make it. Mm-hmm. Well, he tells Dana that this is for Jules. She kisses his cheek and Holden tells him not to hold back. And he says, I never do.
Marty's like, what am I, chopped liver?
Yeah.
The music swells as Kurt backs up the motorcycle and makes the jump. It looks great. This dude is fucking flying through the air, on track to make the landing, but he smashes into that invisible wall that I wish we didn't know about.
The only way they could have telegraphed it more is if when Kurt said, I have a plan, he put on a bird costume.
I was gonna say, if the bird was riding a motorcycle.
Like, it upsets me so bad.
It's so frustrating because the hope that you feel for him, even having seen that, can you imagine how
Yes.
devastating this would be if you didn't fucking know what was going to happen?
Yeah.
And the music swells.
Yes.
But it's such a false moment because you're like, no, it's a wall there.
Yeah.
Oh, Kurt. Mm-mm.
Yeah, you're about to...
Baby, no, what
Right.
is
No,
you doing?
you already know.
Yeah. You ever want to see the bottom of a canyon, Kurt?
But the bike is smashed and Kurt falls from it, bouncing off the wall as he falls into the abyss below. Dana screams. Holden questions what he could have hit. There's nothing there. Dana says, puppeteers. Marty was right. Holden fucking runs back to the RV, telling Dana to do the same.
He told you.
He did. He tried. Then he got, hung up on Pop-Tarts. But he did try.
Pop-Tarts are good.
That's understandable.
Pop-Tarts are great.
Excuse me. We're a Toastums family now.
No, that's right.
Fuck, I forgot. I forgot. Back at the facility, another lever is pulled and the blood fills in the outline of a broad-shouldered person holding a spear and a ball. In the RV, Holden is behind the wheel now, saying there has to be another road out of here, or they can just go to the forest and try to go as far as they can. Dana tells him that it doesn't matter if there's another way out. Something will happen to it. He's missing the point. He asks her to hold it together because she's all he has now. He's like, can you fucking not?
Well, she was already negative in the black room.
Yeah.
I did want to point out that she said something about, if we reach a bridge or whatever, it's probably collapsed and washed away.
Yeah.
Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Yes. Damn it. Yeah. But she tells him she's okay, and he asks that she just remain calm no matter what. And that's when the knife comes through his throat.
This is one of the most shocking deaths I've ever seen.
Because you're like, they're in the fucking RV.
Yeah.
How do you even get in there? What the fuck?
Using the restroom?
Yeah,
What?
right.
Yeah. But one of the Buckner boys stabs Holden through his throat, causing him to fall onto the steering wheel. Dana screams as the RV goes off the road and into the lake.
Man, didn't he just get there?
He did.
He transferred schools or some shit, and then
Should have stayed at state.
yeah.
One thing I did want to point out was the attention to detail. Whenever the windshield breaks and the water crashes through,
Yeah.
his side is red water.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
nice.
Like, I was like, you guys really did this shit. It's so impressive.
But Dana is able to swim to the top of the RV and get a gulp of air before opening the moonroof and climbing out. The Buckner boy grabs onto her ankle, but she's able to free herself and swim up toward the surface. At the facility, Sitterson, Hadley, and Lynn drink and celebrate, but Truman is confused. Why are they celebrating when they can still see Dana alive and swimming on the monitor?
Did you get like a packet at all? Like
No.
an orientation?
There was no orientation.
Okay.
Hadley says that the virgin's death is optional as long as it's the last death. The whole point is for her to suffer, which she has. Hadley gets all existential, saying it's the strangest thing. He's rooting for this girl. She just has so much heart. He starts to detail the pain that she's been through, but yells that tequila is his lady when the other departments come to join the celebration. I laugh every time.
It's the funniest break from what he's saying. Yeah, it's amazing. I heard on commentary they said that Bradley Whitford, they did 8 takes of what was written, and on this last take he improv'd. and that
That's
got
it.
in.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Drew Goddard said, I don't even know really what it means, but it's fucking hilarious.
It doesn't
And
make any sense.
he's right.
But back at the dock, Dana makes her way and finally climbs up onto it, laying down and catching her breath. She begins to sob, and suddenly the bear trap comes down right next to her. The Buckner boy comes toward her, and suddenly we cut to her and Buckner on the monitor in the facility. Buckner picks her up and wraps the chain around her neck, standing up with her like she weighs nothing. But instead of hearing her screams, we hear Roll with the Changes by REO Speedwagon blasting as there's a full-blown fucking party happening in the control room right now.
So just a couple things here. One, that's a great music cue. I honestly thought that this was the end of the movie.
I did too.
Yeah.
The first time I saw
yeah.
it.
I did too.
I heard again on commentary the studio wanted to cut this entire party scene that's coming up. And Drew Goddard, when he got the call, because he's like, I've been fighting all these little battles. He said he just cried because he's like, this is so important.
It is.
Yeah.
And so what they decided to do is they decided to call the studio head. And they literally called him the second they got him on the phone. They said, "We're not cutting the scene, shaklacky," and just hung up on him. And so it's still here.
Well, it works.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to do a little shaklacky. That's just
man.
how it works.
That's if you learn anything from today's episode.
But a couple people are lavishing praise on Hadley and the work he did tonight, but he can't fully enjoy it. He says he just thinks it would have been a lot cooler with the mermaid.
Yeah.
We scan through the party, people wondering if they're going to get paid overtime, a man trying to ask a woman out only for her to just walk away. It's an office
Yeah.
party.
What was going on?
Yeah,
She
the poor
spent
guy.
tickets on
Yeah.
her favorite opera.
Yeah.
At least just say, "I'm not interested."
No, she
Yeah.
literally walks away.
Yeah.
Finally, we get to Sitterson talking to the demolition department. He tells them that they nearly gave him a heart attack, and they tell him it wasn't their fault. They never got the order. He tries to laugh it off, but they're like, no, seriously, there was a glitch, a power reroute from upstairs. Sitterson's like, upstairs?
Yeah. Interesting.
Suddenly, a red phone starts to ring, and Hadley and Sitterson look at each other from across the party like fucking Mac and Charlie. Yeah. Hadley calls out for them to turn the fucking music off. It immediately stops, and Hadley walks over to the phone. He picks it up, listening for a moment, and then says, that's impossible because everything was done within the guidelines. The Virgin is the only one left. Someone on the other side of the phone apparently tells him that that's wrong, and he asks which one. Everyone turns to the monitor where Buckner is just body slamming Dana onto the dock. I love that mission was accomplished, and they're like, so anyway.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even care to watch the end.
And he's really not even trying to kill her.
No, he's playing with her. Yeah.
Playing with his food.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they're not cannibals. We don't know that yet.
That was unfair.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That was rude.
I'm sorry, Matthew.
Buckner boy.
There you go.
But we're back to Dana now on the dock, and Buckner advances on her, dragging the chain behind him. She weakly tries to crawl away, but Buckner starts swinging the chain over his head to throw it toward her. But it catches on something. The coffee mug / bong. Marty is alive. Buckner quickly pulls the cup away from Marty, but Dana's able to pull up a loose board from the dock and whack Buckner into the lake. They run away, but we see Buckner start to rise up out of the lake.
First of all, great shot of him
Oh, yeah.
rising
Uh-huh.
up. That's some primo horror shit.
Yeah.
But hints the earthquake
Yes.
because they
They were
weren't.
like, no.
Yeah.
You should have pulled the lever.
They in the control room. They're thinking the gods are like, yes, this rocks. But they were pissed.
Yeah, because he pulled the lever and Marty wasn't dead.
Yeah.
I love that they were like, hell yeah. We're doing this shit.
Oh yeah.
But Marty and Dana run through the woods and past the cabin before Marty jumps into, I guess, a grave.
Yeah.
Dana realizes that he intends for them to both go in there, but her protests stop immediately when she sees patients coming toward her.
It's the Buckner's grave,
Yeah.
and it makes perfect sense
Yes.
now.
They go into the grave and Marty closes them into what looks like a bunker, the Buckner's bunker.
Say that 5 times.
I can't even say it once.
Nope.
A pile of human remains grabs at Dana's feet, and Marty explains that he had to disembowel him with the trowel. So what have you been up to? Dana confirms to him that no one else survived, and he says that's what he figured. And she's like, you figured everything. He says that's not true, but he does know a few things. He fiddles with wires in a fuse box, and a panel in the floor opens to reveal an elevator. At this point, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Pieces of that zombie body fall down into it. Marty tells her that someone sent the Buckner family up here to kill them. He says there's no controls in the elevator, but there's overrides in this fuse box, and he thinks he can get the elevator to go down. Dana ponders if they even want, to go down.
Yeah.
And Marty's like, where else are we going to go?
No shit, really?
I mean, if I'm them, I might eat all the food in the cabin and then starve to death. I mean, I don't know. I don't really have a plan
At
here.
least you're thinking ahead.
Yeah.
And then I'll starve to death.
Well, this is the logical.
But she hops down into the elevator, and Marty fiddles with the wires before hopping in himself. The elevator begins to rotate, and there's an empty black space through the glass walls of the elevator. Dana steps up to this glass wall, and we see only her reflection before a fucking werewolf growls and runs up at her.
This werewolf is all practical.
And it looks
Wow,
great.
yeah.
It looks great.
That is a great looking werewolf.
The elevator rotates away from the werewolf and stops in front of a screaming spirit that keeps disappearing and reappearing. Was that also practical? No, just The elevator descends on one side. Marty sees a little girl in a tutu with her back to the elevator, and the ballerina turns around to reveal that her face is nothing but rows of teeth. And music box music softly plays. This is when I'm like, oh,
Yes.
shit.
All starting to come together.
Yes. On the other side of the elevator, Dana sees a large man with spikes coming out of his face holding the puzzle ball that Kurt had. And I almost said puzzle
I know,
box
because we all know what's going on here.
this is clearly Hellraiser.
Yes.
But Dana steps toward the man, musing that they chose in the cellar. They made them choose how they were going to die. Dana screams and hits the glass, but the man on the other side, really doesn't give a shit.
No.
The elevator moves again, and we pan out to see dozens and dozens of creatures and monsters in their own private elevators.
So the elevator bit, genius.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
It's honestly one of the coolest concepts I've ever seen.
Yes.
Period. Stop banging on the glass. That's number one.
We're all upset.
Yes.
But, that's enough.
But number two, I think the coolest thing about this is that, I couldn't say this earlier, but every single item in the cellar, even ones that aren't picked up by our main cast,
Are represented.
have a purpose.
Yeah.
Man,
And it's so smart. Probably put the prop department through hell,
Yeah.
sure.
but it's so worth it because when you go back, and we'll learn even more later, but when you go back, every single thing you can pick and point towards.
That's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's just the attention to detail again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did like this idea as well.
Yes.
I was like, this is a good way to show and introduce all of these.
Yeah.
Like, we could have picked anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. We
they
were
would've-
dying anyway. Yeah.
It didn't matter.
Yeah.
I want to know more.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
More of each creature.
Everything. How does this work? What,
Oh, yeah.
What's all there?
Yeah.
Where can we get them? Right?
Are they available for parties?
Yeah.
Yes. One thing I did notice was that a few of the creatures were from Left 4 Dead 2.
That's so fucking cool.
And when I looked into it, I found out why that was. Apparently, there was supposed to be a tie-in, and there was going to be a DLC of the Cabin in the
wow.
Woods for Left 4 Dead 2.
Yeah.
But because MGM fucking went
God
under, it
damn
had to be canceled.
I fucking loved Left 4 Dead, dude.
And this was like prime time me playing
yeah,
it.
that sucks. That would have been so fucking cool.
Oh, yeah, but I don't think they'll revisit that.
No,
Yeah.
I feel like they would have if they were going to.
It's been 10 years.
Yeah. But back in the control room, Sitterson and Hadley are in full panic mode, ordering for Dana and Marty to be found. Hadley states the mission explicitly: only get the fool. If the girl dies before him, this whole thing goes to hell. Lynn says that Marty's stash has been tested, and whatever he's been smoking is what immunized him from what affected everyone else.
Well, wait a minute, because Jules was smoking it too.
Yeah, but she already had it in her system from the hair dye.
They wouldn't fight it out inside her
Nope.
bloodstream. I don't know how cells work.
But Hadley says that if it's a confirmed kill, then Dana can be taken out as well.
Oh, cool.
Thanks. Truman suddenly spots Marty and Dana in their elevator on the monitors, and they pull it up on the main computer, and we zoom back into the elevator with them. Marty holds Dana when suddenly the elevator door opens and a security guard comes in with his gun raised. He orders that only Dana exit the elevator. The mangled corpse on the ground grabs onto his leg, and he is fully distracted and stops to shoot at it. Marty takes this opportunity to fucking slam the guard's head into the side of the elevator. Marty grabs the gun and the trowel and tells the zombie arm that it did good work.
He did.
It killed me because earlier when the arm tried to grab him, he goes, fucking zombie arm.
Yeah.
But now they've reconciled.
Yeah.
Great job.
Yeah, I had misjudged you, zombie arm.
Yeah, I was too hasty.
Yes.
But the elevator door closes as the arm crawls over to grab the guard's face.
What's he planning?
Got him a snack.
No, not the gun.
I don't know how he's going to eat him.
I don't know either.
He'll figure it out. But they look around the hallway of the facility when suddenly a woman's voice speaks over the intercom that they shouldn't be here and this all should have gone differently. She sympathizes with their pain and confusion, but this isn't really about them. This is part of something bigger and older than anything. Marty hands Dana the trowel, and we see on the monitors that large groups of guards are running toward them. The voice goes on to explain that the creatures they've seen tonight are nothing compared to what came before them and what lies below. It's both their job to placate the ancient ones and Dana and Marty's job to be offered up to them. She asks for their forgiveness and pleads that they just let them get it over with.
So Truman should have heard this. But I feel like this is where you finally completely 100% understand everything.
What's happening? Yeah.
And it's brilliant.
Yes. But Dana and Marty run. They find their way to a reception area and run inside, locking the door. But the guards fire right at the fucking window as they cower underneath. Dana notices a button for a system override. She looks up at the monsters on the monitors and after a nod from Marty says, "Let's get this party started," and hits the button.
Now, what ensues is one of the coolest things ever.
100%.
And since it's so cool, I allow the button existing to...
Right. Because why would it be there?
Yeah, there's no reason for it to be there, but just let us have this.
Sure, yeah, it's there. Okay. A lot of movement can be heard, and the guards stop to look around. One of them finally comes to the realization, oh shit. Right before both rows of elevators open on either side of them, monsters, spirits, the werewolf, some big fucking pterodactyl thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A whole bunch of shit comes out of the elevators and immediately devours the guards. And it cuts to black. They're good at cutting to black when shit gets crazy.
Well, I think part of the help of cut to black is like half of a security guard got thrown at the camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like you don't need to see the rest of it.
Half of a security guard. We cut to another set of guards shooting at the back of a giant rattlesnake. They follow it into that hallway that is now completely covered in blood with dead bodies on the ground and a few stray zombies. A limb falls from the ceiling, getting the zombies' attention, and as soon as they look up, the elevator doors ding again.
That was all not all those creatures, but
They really have
yeah,
those.
they really they trained them. But the shot with the zombies was all filmed practically, and the crazy
They're like
thing,
eating, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
They're like, hell yes.
the crazy thing to me is that all that blood is put onto the set physically.
Wow.
Like it's not CG. I think they said in
Is it
some
chocolate?
Yes. I don't know, but they said that it was like over like hundreds of gallons of blood.
Damn.
Looks like it.
And
Yeah.
I can't
It
even
looks
imagine
good.
the cleanup.
Yeah, it
oh,
does.
Yeah.
But from inside the reception area, all we see is blood and gore hitting the window. The elevators open again and more creatures and masked fucking creepy ass looking people come out. We see workers being thrown to the giant snake to eat, a man tied upside down and being presided over by puzzle ball guy, people crawling on the ceiling and doing unanesthetized surgery.
Did that remind you of House on Haunted Hill?
Yeah.
Totally,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
A woman killing herself before the creatures get to her, the masked people that we saw pouring gasoline on tied up workers, a group holding people down while their leader vomits on them.
Yeah.
It's the fly?
It's a lot. It's a lot. We pan out to see all the monitors and it is complete nightmare chaos. As they watch this all on the monitors, including the toothy ballerina dancing in a hallway of blood.
Love it.
Yeah, Hadley calls for a code black, but gets no response. They're screaming about all the sectors that are down, and suddenly the electricity cuts out. The generator powers up, and something starts to bang on the thick metal door.
So obviously have to call out all the creature design.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes, 1,000 times yes.
This was handled by AFX.
Man.
Yeah.
They said something along the lines of I think it was 60 people
Yeah.
working for about, I think it was 6 to 8 weeks,
Damn.
getting all of these interesting different designs because they're so varied.
Yeah.
There's everything.
Yeah, they're all kind of their own world.
Yeah.
And I would watch a movie with any of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Can
I mean,
we-
I wouldn't watch the movie with them.
If they can sit down and behave, I'll watch the movie with them.
That's fair.
In the reception area, a big winged monster crashes through the glass. It growls at them, and Marty and Dana fucking make a run for it. They run into a man who tries to warn them that one of the exits is blocked, but the monster flies into him, crashing him through the wall. The monster flies back out and takes off in the opposite direction, and zombies start to shuffle toward them, and they all take their chances in the mystery wall.
Doesn't seem so dangerous now.
And,
No.
And like that, everything's fucked.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's over.
Yeah.
There's no
The one thing that I will say was a little overboard was the unicorn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there in a second.
Okay.
But yeah, we see more clips of chaos. The werewolf eating someone's neck meat, a clown stabbing someone, then getting shot multiple times, but just laughing about it, and that unicorn impaling someone with its horn.
I was like, my God.
Yeah.
Now you done did it.
Yeah.
It even sounded all magical.
Yeah. It changed just for the unicorn. I did see that the clown was played by the motion director of the film.
Oh, wow.
Hey.
He's the guy that kind of told everybody how to act, like the zombies, this is how you shuffle and all that. He was the clown.
That's
Nice.
fucking cool. He was creepy.
Yeah, they said he directed them as the clown, which was weird.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Mm-mm.
But we see all this shit, and then the elevators ding again. Patience comes out onto the floor and takes a look around.
Why was that sad?
Yeah.
It is sad.
Like, when I saw it, I was like, I feel for that girl.
Yeah.
Not Patience.
Yeah.
But in the control room, Truman takes out several zombies before being taken down himself, the zombies immediately going after his guts. Hadley defends Sitterson and Lynn with a fucking machine gun.
Yeah.
While Sitterson tries to bypass a code to open a trap door.
Drew Goddard said that Bradley Whitford was so excited to use that machine gun. They had to do a few takes because he said after the first take, he was like, okay, I need you to not pretend it's the best day of your life and pretend it's actually the worst.
He was having fun.
He was.
Truman triggers an explosive, sacrificing himself and exploding the zombies, but it sends Hadley flying to the other side of the room. Smoke fills the room, and as Hadley opens his eyes and the ringing in his ears subsides, he catches a glimpse of it. Coming through the smoke, a merman. Hadley laments, "Aw, come on!" before the merman starts to eat his face, shooting blood out of the blowhole in his back. I will say now I see why Sitterson said it's a bitch to clean up.
Yes.
But was anybody else really sad that he got killed?
Well, I was. I think that it's so funny because when he said that it was a bitch to clean up, I saw in the featurette that they had to film this like last in this room
Oh man, because it
because
fucked
it
it up.
fucked up the room.
Oh, wow.
And
Blood and guts are just
Yeah.
fucking flying.
they said the blowhole, whenever they did it, they actually shot it for 9 minutes of the blood coming out.
Damn.
And you see it as it's kind of like sputtering
yeah.
because they used the last 10 seconds of footage because it was the best.
But at least he finally got to see his merman.
Yeah.
You know, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I guess. But Sitterson is finally able to bypass the code and open the door in the floor. And just as he and Lynn are about to jump down, a giant fucking tentacle crashes through the ceiling and scoops Lynn up.
Poor Lynn.
Poor Lynn. Sitterson jumps down, and as he runs through the halls, he runs into Dana, who immediately stabs him in the gut with the trowel.
I love that he's hoofing it.
He's
Yeah.
like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. He recognizes her and grabs onto her, begging her to kill Marty with his last dying breath. He falls to the ground dead. Marty gives Dana the gun, and she looks contemplatively at Sitterson before following Marty.
When he gets stabbed, he holds the knife.
Well, you're not supposed to pull it out.
Well, I know, but it's kind of funny because because it looks like a stage play.
Yeah.
Alas.
Red streamers come out.
But they find themselves on a suspended platform with the etchings that we saw filling with blood earlier all around them. Dana points out that there are 5 of them. When Marty asks what they are, Dana realizes that Marty was right all along. They're them. And this is all part of the ritual. Marty says a ritual sacrifice is just some daggers and cloaks. It's not that complicated. And Dana agrees. It is simple. It wasn't just about killing them, but about punishing them too. Marty asks what they're being punished for, and a voice answers from behind them, for being young. It's the director, played by Sigourney fucking Weaver.
Yeah.
We love to see it.
Yeah, she's the fucking best. And I don't want to get crucified here, but she was their second choice. Their first choice was Bruce Campbell.
I would have loved that too.
Yeah.
But I think she does amazingly.
Oh, no. Yeah.
And it's such a, are you fucking kidding me
Yeah.
moment.
And I mean, you have someone who is like such a big name in the horror genre.
Yes.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. But she explains that it's different in every culture, but it always requires at least these 5. The whore who is corrupted, she dies first. We see the tablet of a woman coquettishly lowering her clothes, and then we see Jules being killed by Mother Buckner. The athlete, we see the tablet of the figure holding a ball and spear before seeing Kurt smash into the invisible wall. The scholar, we see Holden getting stabbed through the throat. This is pretty quick.
Yeah.
The fool, the tablet of the figure dancing with the wine, and she eyes Marty. They're all supposed to die next, leaving the virgin to either live or die as fate decides. The director stands in front of a tablet of a very virginal looking woman. Dana's like, virgin? And the director tells her, we work with what we have.
I laughed because when she said the fool, Marty was like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm right here.
It's fucking rude.
Yeah.
She says if they're unable to pull it off, the ancient ones beneath them will rise. They are gods that used to rule the earth. As long as they're satisfied by the sacrifice, they stay below. But every other ritual failed. The ground shakes as she lays it out plainly for Marty. The sun is going to come up in 8 minutes, and if he's alive to see it, the world's going to end. Marty says that if they really had to kill all his friends to survive, maybe it should end. The director tells him that everyone on the planet will die an agonizing death, including him. He can either die with them or he can die for them, which is a great line.
Yeah. I was literally stopping to say that.
He's like, well, both choices are enticing. But in the background, we see Dana raise the gun and point it at Marty's head. The director's eyes shift toward her and Marty turns around. He's like, wow. And the director tells her she needs to be strong because the entire world is in her hands. Dana apologizes to Marty, but suddenly the fucking werewolf steps out of the shadows behind her.
I have just a couple things here.
You can see him too.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of them is very funny to me and cute, and the other one is disgusting. So the first thing is that I read that whenever Sigourney Weaver got on set, she was like, is this the day the werewolf is here? Like, she wanted to see this werewolf so badly. And then there's a featurette on the DVD or the Blu-ray where they took a giant cast picture and she's standing next to the werewolf. It warmed my heart.
I love it.
That's
What's the
cool.
disgusting
Here's
thing?
the disgusting thing. You see Dana, being all with the gun and everything before she gets bit by the werewolf.
Yeah.
Joss Whedon,
Oh, God.
on commentary, he goes, I've never seen a more beautiful face. I was like, keep it in your pants, Joss.
Ew.
You are fucking gross. It's like, you know that there's a microphone there, right?
Yeah, you know.
We're on air, dude.
Yeah, we're filming this.
He's like, I so pale. It's like, dude, we are on
You're
air.
on air.
But I just don't. And that wasn't the first time he said something creepy on commentary.
Ew, gross.
Scumbag.
Fucking scumbag. But she apologized to Marty, and Marty's like, I'm sorry too, as the werewolf bites down on Dana's neck meat, causing her to drop the gun.
The werewolf's got a thing for the neck meat.
It's the best part.
Yeah.
Marty and the director fight over the gun. Marty wins and shoots the werewolf in the back until it just goes running up the stairs. It's like, fuck this.
I love that he ran away.
Yeah.
They weren't silver bullets.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
I was like, man, again,
It's
attention
not
to
gonna kill
detail.
him. Yeah.
He's like, that just tickles a little bit.
Oh,
but
fuck this, man. That neck meat's not even worth it.
I'll get some up top.
There's a lot up there.
Yeah.
Dana sits up against the stairs covered in blood, and the director hits Marty and starts whooping his ass. She sits on top of him on the edge of the platform, just beating the shit out of him. Suddenly, something walks past Dana, and she can do nothing but watch and weakly try to call out for Marty. Just as the director raises the gun to shoot Marty, we see that it's Patience Buckner. She buries her axe in the director's head, and Marty just fucking kicks her ass off the platform, sending Patience with her.
I just want to say Patience lived up to her name because it took her the entire film to kill someone.
Yeah.
Marty walks over to Dana and sits next to her as she muses that she doesn't even think Kurt has a cousin. I was like, fuck.
Wow.
He asks how she's doing, and she tells him that she's going away. He apologizes to her, but she apologizes for almost shooting him, but she probably wouldn't have. Marty understands and lights a joint and apologizes for letting her get attacked by a werewolf and then ending the world.
Not all apologies are equal.
Yeah.
Right. She hits the joint and tells him that he was right about humanity. It's time to give someone else a chance. Everything starts shaking, and Marty muses, giant evil gods. They both say they wish they could have seen them because this would have made for a fun weekend.
Yeah.
They huddle together as the room shakes more violently and pieces of ceiling fall down on them. Finally, the ground breaks open, and from the outside view of the cabin, we see a giant hand break through it and rise up to the sky. It comes down on us and it fades to black. We get another title card for The Cabin in the Woods, and the credits roll. So, what did you guys think of Cabin in the Woods?
So watching this movie for the show, I enjoyed it a lot more.
Good.
Yeah.
Knowing that it's horror comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I do enjoy it. But no, seriously, I did enjoy this movie, watching it and paying attention to all the little things and like the details and whatnot. It did make it better, and it was more enjoyable and watching it, and like even some of the stuff you said, that we didn't know about. That's, you know what I mean? You go back and you're like, damn, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right.
But I do have a question. So everyone else around the world's ritual is different than ours, or the same?
It's
like,
the
what
same
was,
basic bear.
Yeah, it's the
From
same.
what the director said.
But in Japan, they turned the witch or the spirit into a frog.
That's what they chose.
Yeah.
They chose that demon. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So even in the U.S., it's not the Buckners every time, but
why was it 5 stereotypes here and then it's just a classroom full of kids?
Because in all fairness, J-horror is different from American
It is.
horror.
That's why she said
okay.
it's different in other cultures, but it's, it's fucking sacrificing your chosen people,
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's just so smart.
Yeah. No, yeah. That makes sense. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't taking it the wrong way. But yeah, and it's shit like that you're like, oh man, and I'll probably end up wanting to watch it again. That way I don't have to take notes or whatever, so I can enjoy it. And you know what I mean, just watch it in its entirety.
It's so funny to me because whenever we said that we were going to cover this film, all I remembered about the group's, I guess, reaction to it was Nay and I loving it so much and you absolutely hating it.
Yeah.
And so I gotta say, to hear you say that you're planning to watch it again is like the most surprising but fantastic thing.
It's an intriguing development.
Yes,
for
I
sure.
love it.
Well, I guess I was just watching it wrong. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
now
It happens.
Yeah, but now it's like, all right, I see what's happening here, and I do enjoy it, or I did.
Yeah. No, I think the thing about it is that it's just such a genius idea. And it doesn't... One thing I do want to kind of point out is that it doesn't really ever make fun of horror.
Right.
No.
It's doing it obviously and very clearly from a place of love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the only people who can make a movie like this are people who love the genre
For
like,
sure.
beyond measure.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, it's just flat out, to me, impressive.
And you said 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 fucking days.
I can't.
I love this. It's so much fun. And it's one of those that you notice different stuff every time you watch it. This time, for instance, a couple things that really jumped out to me that I didn't really factor or like didn't really hit me before was literally Mordecai calling Jules a whore.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like giving away her.
No, you're the whore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then not only was he the harbinger that the group ignored, but Hadley and Sitterson ignored him too.
Yeah.
That's true.
And he literally says the fool's gonna ruin everything.
Yes.
And then the fool ruins everything.
And he says the fool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, wait, because that scene with him, like, am I on speakerphone? It's so fucking funny to me that it didn't fully hit what was being like the rest of the movie being forecast. And we're just like, that's funny.
Yeah. He's the harbinger. And that's the other thing is that
he's the harbinger, period.
Yeah. Whenever they talk about, well, we got to satisfy the customers. We're the customers.
Yes, that was what I was going to say. We're the fucking ancient ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I thought about watching it this time, that bored of all these like super ingenious ideas, and it's just it's just zombies again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Of all the things.
There's definitely commentary there because there's so many genres and subgenres. Mermen, for instance, that we could be fucking with, but it's zombies again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The cool thing is that anybody that is watching the film and they're like, oh, really? A zombie?
Yeah.
They're like, well, hold on.
Yes.
Because once we get to Act 3,
Yes.
everything.
It's gonna blow your tits off.
But they're not zombies.
Yes.
They're redneck hillbilly
Torture family.
Zombie
family,
redneck
zombies.
torture
Yeah,
family. Get
whatever.
it right.
Yeah.
We'd like our wager to count, please.
We want full credit.
Yes.
But no, I love this movie. I feel like it's very smart. It's it's for horror people.
Yes.
Like I know all horror movies are for horror people, but this one is like if you're well versed, you're gonna be like, oh, that's from that. That's a nod to that. That you know what I mean? It's just a lot of fun. And it's definitely, I know John Paul rewatchability is a big priority for you. Super high rewatchability. If you don't notice anything new, to look at those fucking creatures.
Yeah.
Man.
And I mean, when you look at it, even from the script's perspective, when they're in the RV and Marty is spouting off his conspiracy stuff, and he says, eventually you'll see things my way.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
And he talks about ending civilization or ending society or something.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah. Very smart. And especially when you're seeing it on subsequent viewings, you're fuck it, they were telling us.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we can get into ratings. I just went, I love this movie. I feel like I noticed something different, like I said, every time I watch it. And it's so smart, and it does it in such a weird way where all the characters are fucking, you're rooting for everyone, which doesn't make any sense because Hadley, you want to say Hadley and Sitterson are pieces of shit, but like, are they? Because they're literally trying to keep us alive.
Yeah, dude,
it's
honestly,
there's no villain.
In reality,
Marty's kind of the villain.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to,
You know who the villain is? Us.
Oh, you're right.
I'm sorry.
No, you're right though.
Yeah.
God damn it. Yeah, we are. It's always been us.
Yeah.
It's all right.
But before I have a fucking existential crisis, on a scale from 1 to 10 creature-filled cubes, I'm gonna give The Cabin in the Woods. I also always thought it was Cabin in the Woods before we did this episode. So it's The Cabin in the Woods.
Mandela.
Mandela effect. I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10 creature-filled cubes. It's not perfect. I'm not going to lie. That bird thing really fucking chaps my ass because it's one of those where it's like you cut your own throat. Like you did that.
You've been doing so well.
You fucking killed it, man. Mm-hmm. But other than that, this movie's great. I will watch it. I know John Paul's like, I might watch it again. I will be watching it again. I love it. And it doesn't get old. But I will now open up the floor.
I agree 100% with everything you said. I split it again into positives and negatives, of course.
And we're still acknowledging it.
Well,
still new.
Give me one more week and then I won't do it again. But positives, the concept, the execution, the performances, the humor. Mm-hmm. This movie's genuinely funny.
It's funny as fuck, yeah.
The effects and creature design are amazing. The editing probably wouldn't get a lot of shout outs, but it should because it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cutting between these pristine lab scenes, this dingy cabin,
and the grimy,
yeah. So I guess also the production design,
yeah,
it's amazing. And now for the negatives.
The fucking bird.
That's it. Literally, if you look, I wrote that bird. That bird is the only thing I could think of. I
don't know. I'm trying to think of another time we've been offended by something so small.
It's literally a bird. And I think the thing is that it robs us of such a great moment.
It does. That hurt it a lot for me. I'm not going to lie. And it's like 2 seconds of the film.
Yeah. Legitimately, that's really the only thing I can think of. I think they handle everything else so well. But that gets me. That gets me real bad. So, on a scale from 1 to 10 creature-filled cubes, that bird, it takes me down to give The Cabin in the Woods 9 creature-filled cubes out of 10. That bird is worth the whole fucking point. I can't abide with that bird.
Oh my god!
But JP, what did you?
Like I said, I did really like the movie this go around. I probably will watch it unless I am watching it with your sister. So yes,
there you go.
But I did enjoy this movie, and it does have a lot of rewatchability. It is something new for me, so I'll have to give it some time. Mm-hmm. But I do think in time it will be a good movie that is thrown into the rotation to watch more.
Yes.
Good.
But don't need to kind of draw it out too long. On a scale from 1 to 10 creature-filled cubes, I'm going to give The Cabin in the Woods 8 creature-filled cubes out of 10.
Very good.
I did really like the movie. I did, but like I said, it's not. It's gonna be it's a new for me movie kind of to
That's
get
fair.
into again and whatever. But
you
it is a
fucking
good
hated
movie.
it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I was like, this is
Like,
I was
what
like,
the
what
fuck
is
is
happening?
happening?
Yeah. I was like, why are you being silly? They're gonna die.
Well, that's all from us at Pod Mortem. What would you rate The Cabin in the Woods, and what should we watch next? Let us know on Twitter at the Pod Mortem. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook. Be sure to follow each of us on Twitter at Blood and Smoke, at RealStreeter84, and at TravisMWH. Please consider pledging to our Patreon and stay tuned until after the music for a special shout out to our Wendigo Gator patrons. And remember, always trust your gut instinct. If you feel like someone is pulling your strings, they just might be. Until next time. Thank you for staying tuned for a special shout out to our Wendigo Gator patrons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck that bird.
Fuck
Yeah.
that. Someone put on some REO Speedwagon.
Yeah.
A very special thank you to Chris Ontiveros, Kristen Lofton, Megan Martinez, Kimberly Bass, Melanie Van Houston, Sophie Hodson, Anthony Jerome M., Jordan Nash, Kent and Allison O'Morton, Guy 54, Lala Tamez, Travis Anissa Hunter, Miguel Myers ATX, Mandy, Jennifer Perez, Pierre Lombard, Carissa, TJ Bronson, Gabrielle Trevino, Spooky Mom, Andy Teague, Applin Ontiveros, Karima Rhodes, Antonio Huerta, Kimberly Kleindienst, and Will Brown. Thank you all so much.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you all. Appreciate you more than Marty and his weed.
Or Hadley and his tequila.
That's his lady.
That's his lady. But yes, we hope you're all still cabin a great time.
You would.
Until next time.